Forever Dog.
Hi everyone, it's Jason. I'd like to take a minute to tell you about Forever Dog Plus. Forever Dog Plus is a new low-cost subscription service where you can get ad-free versions of all your favorite Forever Dog podcasts. Go to foreverdogpodcast.com/plus, sign up, and you'll get a link that opens in your preferred podcast app. It's $4.99 a month, but if you sign up before October 19th, you get a 10% discount for as long as you're a member. Once again, that's foreverdogpodcast.com/plus, or just follow the link in the show notes.
Forever Dog.
Warning. Today's podcast episode is somewhat unique and calls for a different kind of introduction. This, as you may recognize, is the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror. Opened in 1994 at Disney MGM Studios. Still in operation, waiting for you. We invite you, if you dare, to learn how each host was scared of the ride during childhood, and in some cases, adulthood. And discover how 21 kinds of tobacco make for 20 wonderful Chesterfield smokes. Today on the return of Hauntcast the Fright.
Welcome to Hauntcast the Fright, the Scream Park podcast hosted by three headless men in their ghoulies. I'm Scott Gravedigger, joined by... take it.
My name is I Kill Girl Stone. Girl, not girls, not girl stone, like girl stone. Sorry, I mispronounced
you
it.
killed girls specifically.
That did sound like I just said girl instead of gur. That really screwed everyone up. I'm so sorry. That was confusing. Anyway,
he almost got away with it until his confession was laid bare in a funny Halloween name. Then 25 girls have been recovered.
we all the listeners of his podcast suspected, but they never knew for sure until that fateful Tower of Terror episode.
Michael suppressed so much until in one episode it all came out. But hey, let's also bring in
Jack-o'-lantern Slimedon.
Oh, great. I'm glad we refreshed the spooky name banks. It's a pleasure to talk to you both, I Kill and Jack-o'-lantern. And it's a pleasure to be here in Hauntcast the Fright once more. I'm excited. Due to various other things like our tour last year, our mini tour, there were other things going on in October. We didn't get to do the full month, but we've got it cleared out. This is an October full of frights and delights.
Yes, technically we did miss one Friday, but it's going to be plenty of Fridays.
Well, 5 Fridays. 5 Fridays in October this year. And you don't want to do too many frights.
Oh, yeah. People get rattled.
5 frights. 5 main feed frights, too many.
Just seeing the scary logo that we have and hearing the scarier music and hearing our scarier names is putting all the listeners at severe risk of shrieks and diarrhea. And if we did it 5 times all month, it would just be too sustained and you couldn't handle it.
How often during Hauntcast the Fright do the listeners have just horrible diarrhea? I don't know.
I mean, at least when a new one pops up in their feed or when they see a tweet. I mean, you get into the meat of the episode and maybe you're only diarrheaing, 7 times or so. But there's a lot loaded up at the beginning.
It's like somebody...
Or even seeing the name Tower of Terror or Snow White's Scary Adventures. That's a little diarrhea paying every time.
Right. Or they hear like, oh, Jason likes 100 grand bars better than Milky Way. And they have a horrible diarrhea because they heard that scary fact about Jason and Halloween candy.
He'll never find 0 bars in this day and age.
Yeah. So it's a fright around every corner on this podcast in October.
There's a lot to talk about with this topic.
Yeah.
We're doing a big one. It's a big one, and we're being big brave boys to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But that does make me think with the candy discussion, there's no treats trail this year.
No.
Obviously, all the stuff's happening and we don't have to go over it. But I guess, Jason, does that do you end up buying extra candy just to have around? Do you like how do you handle a quarantine Halloween?
Well, look, as long as the aisles of your local supermarket and drugstore seasonal sections are well stocked, I'll be fine. You know.
Are you, Jason, are you going to wait for discounts, or are you going to buy during the month?
I will probably buy a couple times during the month. I think CVS discounts a lot. Like, we got lunch once in between recordings, and I came back with like bags of CVS Reese's eggs. Easter eggs.
Reese's eggs. Scott, are you a Reese's or a correct pronunciation Reese's man?
Well, I was going to say, yeah, I think I'm a Reese's.
Okay. Got it.
Okay.
But
That's
you, though I'm not even sure your answer, Mike, because you did say correct, but also it makes me think you like saying Reese's.
Well, I think it's
better.
I think it's funny saying Reese's, but I Reese's. Now, look, I'm not guilty for mispronouncing. I called what did I call agave?
Agave.
Guava. Yes. Multiple times.
So look, I already. So I'm screwing up too here. So I'm not out of the woods.
Yeah. I'm gonna try it on for size. Maybe I'll shift to becoming a Reese's person.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't feel right. I think I'm not like having the joy and abandon that you need to have to say Reese's.
You need to be a much more of a free spirit to say Reese's.
Yeah.
So too uptight. Well, I'll work on it. I'll try to drop that word in to our conversations all month as much as I can. But for now, let's tackle. We're opening with a bang. We're doing a big old major attraction. This is exciting. Twilight Zone Tower of Terror. Been looking forward to this conversation a lot.
And I think, as usual, we'll put it in a little bit of a box here. We're going to mostly just talk about Florida and the California version, not Mission Breakout, Guardians of the Galaxy, not Tokyo version. We haven't done Paris, but Scott, you've been there, and that is pretty similar. So.
It just is exactly the same, I believe, as California, only with worse theming on the way in. I can get that out of the way right now. That you just sort of like, even they managed to do a little like some lead up. It's kind of weird in the corner over there in California Adventure. It is like it's odd. It's certainly not the grand buildup of Sunset Boulevard in Florida. Still better than France, though, where you just kind of like round a corner and pass by like a poster for Signs or something, like some out of date movie, and then just Tower of Terror is here. And the other thing that makes me crazy is that you can see the back, which is unthemed. Like if you're on Harbor Boulevard, if you're at Harbor and Catella, the former location of Nixon's Hamburgers, of course. You could see the back of that building, and it's sort of unthemed, but you let that slide with Disney. You know, they don't really theme the back of the Cars Land rocks. You know, that's not. You know, they dress the side that where you're in the park. Paris, you're just in there, and it's just like a blank facade. It's terrible. So I'm sorry to start on a sour note, but that does clear out everything that there is to say about the France one.
I was gonna say there's one other thing. They have extra little they have different scenarios they put in the elevator shafts on special weekends as well. They have a little bit extra magic with some more dropping.
I didn't know that.
They announced. I don't know if they've actually put it into use yet, but they announced it at a certain point. So they're trying different things, and they also kind of do a similar thing in Tokyo with
there's some scarier iteration, correct, that they advertise specially. I mean, that's sort of true of all of these in a way, that they've found ways to randomize it and increase the scares. I mean, that's when you think of Tower of Terror, you definitely think of the ads, and that not only are the ads when it opened, but then there's this other wave of I'm trying to remember
that fear every drop, and
Yeah.
Was it Double Trouble? Like they had so many promotions. I know what you mean. Like
the one I wrote down was T4. So it's like the fourth iteration, so they're calling it T4, and which maybe implies that there's up to 4 drops or maybe more, or like big drops, which also had the phrase, the tower is in control.
Yes. Okay, so the very first iteration was one big drop.
Yes.
2 years
That was
later.
it, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you have to imagine maybe a little anticlimactic because you waited so long those first few years. It was the star of the park at that point.
Do you remember, Jason, going on this? Because I went on this pretty quickly, like when it was open. We just happened to be going that year. Or it was the year after. It was Rock and Roller Coaster and Tower of Terror were both open, and I was. And this opened in '94, right?
Yeah,
Florida?
94. But didn't Rock and Roller Coaster open in 99? That was a while later, right?
All right, then I'm confusing my own trips. I went on this pretty quickly after it was open, so maybe I'm confusing my 2 trips with Rock and Roller Coaster. But I remember not being like let down by the drop is really what I'm getting at.
Yeah, I mean the build-up is so satisfying. As for me, I think it opened in between like trips my family took. So I think I would have gone on it in 96. So it may have been 2 drops at that point, but it was still brand new, still like hour to 90-minute wait at least. I just remember the first time getting the full extended queue, and the gardens were so cool. Like it's supposed to be dilapidated, but Disney is so good at landscape architecture. Like the dilapidated gardens are beautiful. And the other thing is there were misters hidden everywhere. So it was a little spooky and also much needed because it would have been like the middle of summer.
Oh, sure, yes.
Yeah.
That's a cool way to do it. It kind of seems like fog or something. I also remember when this ride showed up on the scene. Obviously, I didn't actually go on it until with you guys in last October. It opened, I think, because I went in 92 and 94. So the second time I went to Disney World, it was there. And I remember feeling more unnerved everywhere at the resort because of the mere existence of the Tower of Terror.
Wow, really?
Just that you would see it from Epcot, or you'd see it from a hotel, or you'd see the ad with the like shaking elevator, the billboard on the way in, or you'd see it on the in-room TV. It like loomed over the whole trip. It like just the notion of it made my second time there so much scarier
because you knew you were going to do it.
Press, yeah.
No, because I knew I wasn't going to do it. I didn't do it then.
I see. Okay.
When I was 9, and maybe the inner shame of knowing there wasn't even a chance that I was going to give it a shot. Yeah, I felt similar with Alien Encounter because that was also new.
Yes,
maybe that whole trip was just
shame
in the back of my head. Yeah, shame that I wasn't going to do it, and also like what happened to this place? This was a magical place for little kids, full of castles and fairies, and now there's so much horror around every turn.
Why did they add things young people might enjoy and be thrilled by? Disgusting.
Didn't make any sense to me. There should be more looks behind the scenes of my favorite films, and that is all they should ever add.
I felt anxiety because of Alien Encounter because I was like thought it was awesome when I was reading about it. And then when we got there, I famously, of course, if you've listened to the old episodes, chickened out, and I was it definitely it stuck with me the whole trip of like your dad and your little sister went on it. And you didn't, you loser. But I wasn't like, once it was like we had gone to Magic Kingdom and I wasn't going to go on it, I guess I kind of put it out of my mind.
I mean, I didn't build up the bravery until last year, and I'm so glad. I mean, as I've said before, really Tokyo was what did it, because Erin, when we were there, my wife was like, "You're not going to come all this way and not go on this Tower of Terror," and thank God, because that thing is incredible. And then it it made me have to go do all the other ones and Guardians and everything. Erin was that was maybe her biggest trip disappointment because she was newly pregnant at the time, and that she was really looking forward to doing the Florida Tower of Terror. So apologies to Erin if you're listening to this. We'll get there one day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I do remember, since you both mentioned being scared as children, going when this was open. I was so excited to ride it. At the same time, all of the marketing for it featured footage of people standing in an elevator that drops, and I was like, this is insane. Disney just puts you in an elevator standing up and you're going to drop. And then as we're like, this is like driving me crazy as we're like in the line, and I'm like, oh, there's Rod Serling. Obviously, as a weird little child, I love the Twilight Zone. I was so excited to see Rod Serling and the queue and everything. And then the doors open and there's seats and seatbelts, and I'm like, oh my, thank God. Just thank God. But I feel like it was another one where, like, my memory as a child, and I'm probably just misremembering, is I could not get a straight answer from cast members. Like, when I would ask, like, does the Rock and Roller Coaster go upside down? Or does the Outer Limits Flight of Fear, like, is it super scary? Like, and no one would tell me.
I did that once. There was a refresh of Space Mountain where I went and asked, okay, when this was redone, was a launch added? And maybe I didn't have the word launch at my disposal, and I had to say, like, does it have the thing where it goes super fast all of a sudden? Which, if you say that to a Space Mountain employee, they're like, yeah, like, yeah, it's a fast ride. What do you? I could not get a straight answer, and obviously they did not add a launch, so I braved it anyway. But that was my launch fear. The idea that they might have put one in there was too much for me.
Launch? That's interesting because, Rock and Roller Coaster was my first launch. But I don't know. When is the first time you knew what a launch was, do you think? How old do you think you were?
Well, when did they start putting them in? Rock and Roller Coaster could have been the first one, like around then, and Mummy.
Yeah.
I mean, I was a teen by the time. Oh yeah, I was a teenager who was deathly afraid of the mere notion of launches. Wow. Just to clarify, not a child.
Wow. I think just because I wasn't even that familiar with launches, when I did Rock and Roller Coaster, I realized that made me feel bad. I've said this before, so we're not going to get that far into it, but it made me feel better because it would go quick. It would be over quick. I hate the suspense of roller coasters. Huh. I hate the suspense. I don't like the slow climb up. Like, that's why when we did Hang Time, which is the thing that it's like just puts us like in a chair slowly going vertical. That's the most anxiety inducing thing that I can do because it's just all suspense. And then the ride is fine.
It's interesting, like, this kind of ride, it is the first Disney drop tower, and they've done less themed ones like the Maliboomer, which that one just shot you straight up, like there was no build up. That wasn't like you climb up very slowly.
That was just like, similar to Dr. Doom's Fearfall. That was like an off the shelf sort of thing with no theme. At least Dr. Doom, the queue is pretty good,
and I've never done a legs dangling drop ride.
Sure.
Really?
Never ever.
Wow.
I'm not saying I won't.
You've never done Fearfall?
Never done Fearfall.
You've never been through the Latverian embassy?
Never been
or
through
seen the Doom bots? Well, Michael, I can't believe this.
Yeah. Okay, look, next time we go to Orlando, or I go to Orlando, I don't even want to say it. I will do Dr. Doom's Fearfall.
I did it like 4 times because you could just go out the exit and like go around a corner and get back in line.
I don't,
because you're a brave boy. You were a brave boy and still are. And
I gotta see those views. I
try to cut you down by making fun of your Reese's pronunciation, but it's just because you're braver than I am.
Thank you so much.
No, that's what it's all about. All of the undercutting, because you've had so many more years of Tower of Terror experience.
That is true, but I had multiple times doing the research for this where I truly felt like an idiot. Where I am like learning. I did not know that if you stare at the Morocco Pavilion, you see the tower. It did not occur to me. It did not occur that they were that close. That they built like minarets almost on top to make it blend in,
tie together. Right. So if you're in Epcot Center and World Showcase, and you're from certain angles, you're staring across at the Morocco Pavilion. They colored this Tower of Terror to fit with Epcot's Morocco.
I know. I never noticed
that. It still fits in the sightline. Yeah. I never.
Yeah, that's very cool. I saw the photo they had on whatever site I was on, and I was like, oh wow! I probably stared right at it. Yeah, I didn't realize it. Kudos.
Really well. The thing I was going to get to is that, this is the first Disney drop tower, and I think it came out of... They knew they wanted to do that, like Splash Mountain before it. Like, this is a genre of ride that's very common, but we haven't done it ourselves. It actually maybe wasn't that common, and I think the way that it mainly existed before is sort of like, maybe the only one of these we've talked about on the show is the Tower of Terror ripoff that we encountered at Movie Park, Italy. Again, I never remember the name of
Movie Land.
But that was this, if you didn't hear the episode, that was this rip-off Universal Studios that has a rip-off Tower of Terror that says Hollywood Tower at the top. But that is not where you're in this room that fits several dozen people. You're in this like very claustrophobic little cage, basically, that rises up. Like that is the slow climb. That's the thing that you would be afraid of, Mike.
Yes.
So I think that was the main way that drop rides existed, and in Disney's pursuit of trying to do a ride like this, that's what maybe they were originally thinking that they had to do. And if you've ever been on one of these rides, or you heard us talk about that rip-offy one, often how it goes is it's this slow climb up to the top, and then you jolt forward to the other track, and then you go down in such a way that it curves you until you're on your back at the bottom, which is so weird and like low rent and carnival-y.
It's like it's like almost like you're on a water slide kind of thing.
Yeah, which that's weird. Why do you accept it on a water slide? Like, of course, I'll be sort of like naked and unattached to anything and end up on my back, but doing it on a ride with a physical piece feels so shady.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that one of those is often themed to Superman, The Escape. It's so crazy how some of the most recognizable characters in the world, translated into any number of languages, have the most like rickety Six Flags-esque death traps named after.
Well, that's Six Flags. I mean, that's obviously Six Flags.
I mean, that's part of the appeal. It's part of the thrills, you know? It's a different kind of thrills than the storytelling, like playing on the senses that Disney Imagineering does.
Yes.
They made a deal with the devil, the Looney Tunes and the DC characters. Like there's so rarely a good ride or attraction based on any of this beloved IP.
I saw someone saying, someone was calling us out, and I can't remember who it was, because we were talking about the fact there's no good Looney Tune ride. But apparently, I forget which park it is. There is a dark ride Looney Tunes in the park with the Alf Gremlins that had the Alf and Gremlins ride.
Is that right?
And
really?
It wasn't even on my radar, but it is kind of an old school like 90s animatronic ride. That looks pretty cool.
Okay.
Cool because it will be like it's like 30 years old.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so it's a little rinky dip, but like it like feels like what we.
But it's closer to what we're looking for when we were talking about that. So we got to look into that more. But
well, that's it. The episodes we've talked about doing are like, let's track Batman and the parks, and maybe Looney Tunes should be added to that list too.
Oh, yeah.
What have they actually pulled off, and is this Dubai one any good? Like, does that do justice? Do we think?
Yeah.
Not that we'll go to Dubai, probably.
We can get free tickets, though. I emailed the PR guy, and we can get free tickets, but I don't think they're going to fly us to Dubai, unfortunately. But maybe now that we've been around for a while, maybe now that we're a juggernaut of podcasting.
Oh, yeah. They got to put us up and in first class where it will be safer for us to fly. And right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I also want to set up where we can have Jason recreate Tom Cruise's stunt in Mission Impossible 4. Where he's...
Which one's 4?
Which one? Oh, climbing the building?
Yeah, because Jason wants to do that. You love heights.
Yeah, that one looks okay.
You're the height miser.
The new stunt would be where he rides some motorcycle into the air and then
spoiler alert for the listener who doesn't want to know.
It was on every like news wire. It was on the Associated Press.
Filmed it.
That's true.
Yeah.
So you won't do the new motorcycle stunt, but you are willing to do the tallest building in the world running around it. On a wire.
No, I said I would be interested.
Oh, you would?
I think I'm more interested in the motorcycle one.
You would you would rather ride a motorcycle off of an Evel Knievel ramp off the side of a mountain?
That, yeah, because I feel like the hardest part of that would be learning how to ride a motorcycle.
That seems like a lot of precision.
on a ramp. I don't know. Did you guys know about this in Vegas at the formerly known as the Stratosphere? You can go up to the top level and they'll put bungee cords on you and you can just jump off the building.
Yes.
And you just slowly land.
Well, Lindsay and I watched about an hour's worth of videos of people doing it. And
I did too recently.
Yeah, and people just melt down. They're standing at the top of this thing and they're like sobbing. And the woman or the man who's working there, who's seen this a million times, is just dead inside going, it's all right, it'll be okay. And they'll be like, can you just push me? Can you push me off? And then they're like, we can't push you. You have to jump. Like, you have to just, no, but please just push me. I'm so scared. Like, it's going to be fine. A lot of people have done this and they're just like, they're not helping at all. They're just like, go closer to the edge and jump. And then finally, after like 20, some people like 15 minutes, finally just inch off the building and fall with a bungee cord. It's like insane. I can't imagine.
I want to do it so badly.
You want to do it?
What? Oh yeah,
really?
But I've always wanted to. Okay, part of my love of Tower of Terror as a kid, I was so excited because it was so tall, and I love being high up. This is probably a short man complex, but I was so excited for Tower of Terror to go up that high, and I think I've always wanted to safely jump off the top of a building.
Wow, I'm kind of shocked because that seems so. I would be the person melting down for 20 minutes. I think at the top of the hotel.
I am so. I mean, it's like $100 or $150 if you get a video. I was a little annoyed that the video. Let's take it out of the Patreon.
Let's take it out of the Patreon. You're going to do this. You're going to jump off the top of a building.
Here's my one thing though is I think I would have to get contacts because it would all just be a blur to me, and I think I would want a crystal clear view of what I am seeing. So I
am very impressed with this. Like, I just tentatively said that I would do Dr. Doom's Fearfall.
Safe ride. Not that the other thing isn't safe, but yeah, people melt down on what you're talking about.
Yeah, like a big part of it is that you have to do the jumping.
Yeah.
Like, that's my problem with skydiving too. And I know, like, the first time you go, you're strapped to another person that knows what they're doing. Like, I would have to be forced to do Dr. Doom's Fearfall. I couldn't climb up a tower and then jump off of the tower. A machine has to do the work for me. So that's why the idea of actually stepping off of a building drives me insane. So I am legitimately impressed with you saying you want to do this, and we have to make this happen.
I think the one thing that worries me is just like, I don't know, it feels like there's a lot of backup cables. I watch them explain like all the fail safes. But I think part of the appeal is that you just slow down as you get close to the ground. There's no snapback. Like bungee jumping
there's no snapback,
scares the snapback would scare me.
That does sound better.
You just slowly land. Yeah. Wow. Man, this is going to be a great episode.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think I wasn't planning on getting contacts anytime soon. So I'm also not planning on going.
You have a really boring logistic to do, and the virus has to go away.
The virus. I mean, Vegas is a third open, but not a ton of stuff to do. So
hashtag Stratospheridin. We're gonna be the event of 2024. The Tom Cruise of Podcast The Ride.
And I'll go on the New York roller coaster. That's my pledge.
Oof. I don't know if I feel comfortable with you going on that.
Okay, fine.
I've done it. I cannot recommend.
I will gamble in the pleasure pit at the Planet Hollywood Casino.
Okay.
Where the women wear like slightly more revealing clothes. That's the danger I will face.
Oh, a lower cleavage
That's
line.
correct. Yes, that's the danger I will put myself in Vegas while Jason jumps off a building.
So I was starting to say, just in terms of the history of the thing, the Disney, I think, was I forget where I got all this info, but they were thinking about doing one of those where you end up on your back. So something a little more low renty, and something has come up on the show before that sort of pops in and out of the history of the Tower of Terror, and that is this thing, Geyser Mountain. I know, Mike, you love this
Love
idea.
this idea. Yes.
This was a Baxter thing.
Yeah,
maybe
it was.
At some point. The main gist being that it is like a launch and then a drop ride where you are launching because a geyser is going off and propelling your vehicle into the air.
There's an episode of the Season Pass. I believe it's a paywalled episode of the Season Pass podcast that's all Tony Baxter unmade rides.
Wow.
And this is in there. And in addition, it would have gone back by where Star Wars Land is, which also is a place that Ozland would have gone if the James Franco movie was a hit.
Was a bigger deal. Right.
Walk around Franco.
Yeah. Now it does.
Which that'd be fine today, right?
Oh, yeah.
Just replace him with the old guy from the original. Although they don't have the rights. They don't have the rights to that, though. But whatever.
Oh yeah, I don't know what they'd do.
So anyway,
but just put another Johnny Depp.
Yeah, Johnny Depp.
You have the mold.
Yeah, perfect. No problems
Johnny
there.
Depp as Oz.
Yeah.
But apparently there was some proto iteration of Geyser Mountain that would have been the same idea, except it's one of those you end up on your back a little more low. So they were like pursuing that. Is that a way we want to do a drop ride? And that didn't end up working out. But that was the first that Disney's maybe thinking about doing it. And it's enough in the air that it is one of the things originally proposed in 1990 when they were starting to plan the first big expansion of Disney MGM Studios, because it was specifically a half-day park at some point in time when it opened. If you can picture it without that Sunset Boulevard area and without Rock and Roller Coaster, there's very little going on.
Yeah.
And the expansion started, and Muppet Vision was one of those things, but they were talking about other stuff to do. And I got some of this info, by the way, from Kevin Rafferty's book, which I ended up buying, and I highly recommend. I think we've been overlooking Kevin Rafferty as a Baxter level person for a long time. There's crazy stuff in this book.
He shows up in a lot of cool stuff.
I think he had his hands on a ton, and more than you know, because even I haven't really gotten to read the book yet. I mainly read about Tower, but he wrote the lyrics of the Sunny Eclipse songs.
Wow.
Weird stuff we don't really like this thing, but the Enchanted Tiki Room new management was this guy. But then also he wrote all the songs for the Mater Jamboree.
That's great.
So many odds and ends, and Radiator Springs Racers, and one of my favorite things, Pan-Galactic Pizza Port with Tony Solaroni, which you get a big breakdown of in his book. And apparently he also wrote some of, at least at one point in time, Michael Eisner's intros for the show.
Wow.
That's how much an all-hands-on-deck writer this guy was. He wrote the Sunny Eclipse songs and the hellos.
Wow.
That's kind of like how Marty Sklar would be writing a lot of Disney's internal stuff for introductions on the show and that sort of thing. That sort of connects to that.
Oh, that's right. God, writing the copy on the TV shows and the attractions themselves. That's cool. That's still the case. But anyway, he in his book talks about the formation of this ride and how so they're pitching a ton of stuff. What can we do in this expansion area? And somebody pitched a hotel drop ride. And I think the idea was that there's some backstory where there's a murder in a pool in the basement. And then that starts making the elevator you're in act weird. And that makes it go up and drop. And maybe Vincent Price was pitched to be part of it. So they pitch it.
Yeah, the people pitched to be part of it are insane, this cast of characters.
Oh, well, there's a big one, or we'll get to that in a sec. But so it's some, I don't know, Vincent Price, some weird story. There's a murder in the the pitch was weird, and everyone in the room, Eisner included, is but why does the elevator react to a murder? It just wasn't really tied up. He thought Vincent Price maybe wasn't relevant enough, so it just kind of died on the vine. Kevin Rafferty was not doing that pitch. He was just in the room, and he heard it, and there's something there, though. The idea of a haunted tower, there's that's pretty great, and it stuck with him for a while. And he even just brought it up one day to another Imagineer, maybe Kirk is his last name, I forget exactly. But they were talking about it and went like, well, is there some way to revamp that idea and make it work in the studios better? And they were talking about, well, is it about adding a property to it? Like, is there some way to tie it into a TV show, like The Outer Limits they proposed, which we just talked about, the Outer Limits ride at King's Dominion. And then they got to Twilight Zone. And, that's kind of something. Or what if you're kind of like in an episode of the Twilight Zone? And then they were trading names back and forth. Well, isn't there a real thing called the Hollywood Tower off the 101? Maybe it could be like that. Oh, what if it's the Twilight Zone Tower Hotel? And then Rafferty spits out, what if it's the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror that just flew out of his mouth improvised, and they both went, yeah. And they got a new meeting on the books with Eisner. Here's the pitch, Twilight Zone Tower of Terror. He's like, I love the name, but what is it? They explain it more. He says how this will be a elevator ride where it doesn't act like an elevator, where it does things that an elevator wouldn't do. He's like, that sounds cool. Is Twilight Zone relevant, though? Frank Wells says, absolutely. They show the marathons all the time. It's as relevant as ever. Like, that's an institution. It will always be. And Eisner said, it sounds good to me. It'll just take money. It'll take a ton of money. And suddenly, this guy who's, like, done these weird robot shows in Japan is in charge of a e-ticket attraction that he doesn't actually know how to pull off.
And a big important thing about the Twilight Zone, the rights were available. CBS was very happy to license it to them, and it fit perfectly within their movie and television studio production park.
Right, absolutely. But there was also, I guess I skipped a step of that by saying all that, because also in the air was this other hotel idea, which I think is what you were alluding to, Jason, the Hotel Mel.
Yes. The Hotel Mel. Well, the other name I heard too was Stephen King.
Yes, I found Stephen King
was approached.
I found Stephen King too. Yeah.
Notable for taking meetings with both Disney and eventually Universal, who at one point was pitching like a scary attraction based off some of his books that would have included a fake loading where Pennywise the Clown would have exploded out of the control room and the ride would have continued. Now, this didn't happen. Of course, nothing goes away forever, and that idea was worked into Revenge of the Mummy.
Oh, no kidding. That's nuts. That a Stephen King coaster?
Like all of Stephen King's IP in one ride is what it seems like, right, Jason?
Yeah, which kind of became the idea for the TV show Castle Rock. It like ties together a bunch of the characters in the town and everything.
Wow. Yeah, so it was either going to be Mel Brooks or Stephen King.
What I read about Mel Brooks is that they were trying to get him to shoot movies at the MGM Studios, Disney MGM Studios Park, because they had a full production facilities, and they knew him and his son Max were fans of the park. And on the Disney fandom for Tower of Terror, it said Mel initially had to be sold on the idea of a theme park attraction after being explained that a theme park attraction has a lasting effect of being in place and seen every day of the week by 20,000 people for like 10 to 20 years. And that, I think, is a big keystone, a big benchmark for like why these places resonate so much, because they are so many people experience them. It is a shared experience of like, oh, you can skip a movie, you cannot see a movie, but like so many people have ridden these things,
Right. So they end up with this idea that what I figured out is that I don't think the Hotel Mel was a drop ride. I think it was that you're going to be on a set and you're taken around in a golf cart, like that Hollywood Inside Baseball, that you're on a backlot going on a crazy golf cart ride, but through the set of sort of a Young Frankenstein-ish Mel Brooks comedy horror.
And it was just, it was gags.
Yeah.
The village maybe would have been built. The Young Frankenstein castle might have been there, and like a village and that you could walk down. But who knows how far any of this stuff got,
Yeah.
Did he maybe take any of the ideas that were being formulated and infuse them into Dracula Dead and Loving It?
I have not seen Dracula Dead and Loving It, even though I referenced it not long ago. So... I should
probably. I feel like I might like when the turn happened and the Leslie Nielsen movies got kind of like less good every time, I was disappointed then. I bet now I would like watch the lesser Leslies and go, this is better than any comedy film in the decade.
Yeah. I was watching some old Jackie Chan movies, and I was like, this is so good. These are so good. These stunts are insane.
Yeah.
It's just like you're watching like a live stunt show. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Right. We like old things, I guess. Now I do kind of want to watch the Lesser Leslie marathon maybe coming for me.
Oh, sure.
But I just think it's interesting that they were like piecing this together so slowly. What about a drop ride? What about it's Disney MGM Studios and there's a hotel? Well, not quite. And then it finally all crystallized in Tower of Terror, and they started planning it and budgeting it and seeing if this was going to be the thing. But it was as an expansion idea for Disney MGM Studios, it was up against a different Kevin Rafferty idea. He was working on two things that were in contention to be the big centerpiece of the expansion. And the other one, and I don't want to spend too much time on this because this for sure is its own episode, at least a second gate. The other one that he was pushing along was the Creature's Choice Awards. If you guys
I don't know
anything about the Creature's Choice Awards.
No, I don't know this.
Excuse me?
Oh my God! This is why you have to get this book, Magic Journey, because there's photos of it. I discovered some of this from some YouTube video that I didn't know where they were getting it from. I'm watching the video, going, "Excuse me," and now I know it's from Kevin Rafferty's book because this is without saying too much because I'll have to save it for this episode. I'm even like, do we just move this up and do it soon?
Maybe,
but we'll figure it out. But. Just to whet the appetite, the Creature's Choice Awards involves the host of the Creature's Choice Awards is a character named Eddie Frankenmurphy.
Wow.
Yeah. And there is art in this book of Eddie Frankenmurphy.
Wow.
Eddie himself heard the pitch. Like Eddie Murphy was aware of the possibility of being Eddie Frankenmurphy.
Whoa. I've never seen anything about this.
It's buried in some other YouTube video. I don't remember the channel. It's a guy with a British accent or something, but I was watching it months ago, just jaw dropped. Like, what are you telling me right now? A monster award show with it's so good, mixed with the fact that Rafferty is working on Tower of Terror, the great, now in every park attraction that is beloved. Then this bizarre idea and Dick Tracy Crime Stoppers at the same time. Like, this is, and in the book they detail conversations he had with Eisner about like, wait, so it's a gun? Yeah, it's a gun in the car, but it's like a fun gun. I don't know about a gun. Like, it's so that we've been, I think, underrating Kevin Rafferty. There's a lot in the Kevin Rafferty archives.
I think Crime Stoppers may be coming up too. We should say.
Ooh, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would love to. We'll off mic about how soon you'll hear about Eddie Frankenmurphy.
Wow,
it's so crazy.
Yeah,
we got to.
I heard that. I'm seeing now that part of the reason is they couldn't get the rights to Eddie Frankenmurphy's famous characters, Gumbo and Buckwheat. It's just too expensive to get those hilarious characters he would do.
B-O-O, yes.
Yeah,
Buckwheat. That's pretty good.
Sorry, I guess it's Gumbo and Buckwheat. Tis the season, you know.
And he definitely referenced his work in Beverly Hills Cop.
And Boomerang.
And Boo Finger.
Oh, Boo Finger.
Wait, was he? I might have been thinking of Boo Finger. Is he in Boomerang?
No, he's also in Boomerang. Don't doubt yourself.
Yeah.
Wow, do they all work?
Maybe.
I guess my name is Boolamite. That's not quite as good.
Yeah.
Shrek is just Shrek.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll figure that one out. This is where if I could just go to Imagineering on a random day in 1990 and see concept art of all of this, that these things are all being, and that's just like a third of what they're working on. And I think that's why I can't abide by too much Eisner hate, because sure, he messed up later, but he also enabled a world where, like, okay, what's my 315? The Creature's Choice Awards. All right, well, hurry it up, because I got a 4 o'clock about Tower of Terror, about how to make an elevator move freestanding down a hallway. What a great time! Eisner did it.
Oh, he certainly did. Can I just ask one question? What was the Creature's Choice? What kind of a ride, or is that too big of a spoiler? What kind of a thing was it? Like, what was it?
It is, and again, I'm glad I didn't learn more, so I can't really spoil. But he claims in the book that it would have been an audio animatronic theater show with the scope and amount of robots of the American Adventure.
Wow!
Oh my gosh!
Holy shit!
Yes.
My appetite is more whetted now. Good. I'm glad I asked.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Unbelievable. So to come, we'll put the pin in that. But he literally, what a crazy time for this guy. He has 2 projects in contention. That one they realized logistically maybe they couldn't do, and what Eisner was pushing and why this thing really happened and why he was sold on it ultimately is what Jason said earlier. We want teens, we want thrills for a park that at the time didn't have a ton of rides, and I don't think a thrill ride initially. This one was it, and it was incredibly expensive to do, but Eisner kept pushing, I think, the benefit of a huge thrill ride. I think it'll have a transformative effect on the entire property, and it did.
Well, I think a big impetus was that for a very short amount of time, Disney eventually took the leap. But in terms of Universal Studios Florida versus MGM Studios, Universal had more guests for a while after they got their shit together after the first year or so. It was beating MGM attendance-wise. So they're like, we got to put some stuff in there. And that's as you see, Star Tours and Muppets and Tower of Terror down the line a little. Kind of helped it find its foot. That it was always my family's favorite park to go to. So excited. We love the movies and we love TV so much, and it just, everyone liked it. And I feel like a lot of stuff that everyone in the family could do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely something for everybody. And the fact that there is thrill rides, and then here's this walking tour that it doesn't challenge anybody. And here's a Little Mermaid show. It became such a big variety, especially after this opened.
Yeah. I remember. Yeah, I don't know that we would have declared it our favorite, but we were very into it. I mean, especially Twilight, so which my mother is a huge fan of. I think that it was checking so many boxes for us. And then then when Tower of Terror was put in, it was next level. Finally had something. I mean, Great Movie Ride is very cool. I guess I wouldn't call it next level going on it though. Maybe.
Sure. Maybe at the time, by the sheer amount of it's still not next level, I guess, because there's already been Pirates, right, which has a ton of animatronics.
So it's good. It's really good and it's really fun, but it's Tower of Terror then felt like a next level thing.
Oh yeah. Great Movie Ride, I think, got a boost from the length too, not just the many sets and animatronics, but besides Universe of Energy, there weren't that many long rides at the time.
Yeah.
Well, so to that next level point, part of it is one of the things that was in Rafferty's pitch, which is that this elevator car is not just going to go up and down, it is going to move forward. And obviously so much of our audience is hardcore theme park fans, but I think there probably are people listening who've only been to the California Adventure version and actually don't know that in Florida the car moves. You get up to a floor and it lurches down a hallway, which is some of the why we've been more okay with it changing and not being Twilight Zone in California, because it feels like, well, it never in California has been the ultimate version that was, had this effect that was even in the pitch.
Yeah, it's so much better. We've said it a million times. I'm sure it's annoying at this point of how much more it adds to the ride in Florida. And I wasn't even quite clear until I was doing some research about how it worked.
Yeah.
Well, you want to talk about that?
Yes, real quick though, I want to see if anyone came across this, 'cause since you mentioned that push forward. I found on one of the like fan wiki pages or fan sort of things, as it was describing the differences between the East Coast, West Coast Tower of Terrors, it was saying like, oh, and they took out the fifth dimension sequence where you push forward in the Florida version, which the Imagineers were never happy with. And I had never heard that before. I don't believe it. I usually check stuff against multiple sources, but this just made me so angry. I was like, what are you talking about? They didn't like. That's the whole kit and caboodle. That's the whole deal. Like
maybe what they were generalizing, it's not that they didn't like. Maybe the more nuanced opinion might be, well, it's always problematic in terms of function. That's the most likely part to break down or something. Because it is interesting they never reprised it. Even the Tokyo one, which is really fantastic, doesn't have that effect.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I've heard Tony shit talk the California Tower of Terror, Tony Baxter, because it doesn't have that sequence. He said like that's the big important sequence in the ride, because it like that's when you finally like it breaks your expectations of what an elevator does. So that's when like he says that's so important to the ride, which makes sense, because that's really the moment when you go, oh, I didn't know this could do this.
Which it's so funny that this got pitched and sold to Eisner and Wells with no plan of how they were actually going to do that. It's like, what a crazy, that tells you how much they were just in the money at the time. That like, I don't know, we'll figure it out. And then Rafferty had to leave that meeting with Sklar, and he was, I think, kind of freaking out. Like, does that mean, did he just say, like, do it? Yeah, you're in charge of an e-ticket now, and you got to go learn some stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think they did have a plan. And I guess so let's talk about what they came up with. What's the easy way to explain the technology then?
I don't know. I'm going to sound like the biggest idiot in the world trying to do it, I think. It's basically there's a ride vehicle inside another mechanism that makes you go up and down.
There's the shaft, but there's another. You're actually in a vehicle that crawls into the shaft.
Right.
And there's technically three parts. There's the going up one, there's the one that pushes forward, and there's the one that quickly goes up and down. Those are three different mechanisms.
Right.
Three different.
So it's like
categories.
So there's so there's like a big, like, let's say that, okay, like how can I say this the dumbest way? It's a big cube. There's a big cube with some ropes on it, cords, cables, another little box where the people's chairs are, go into that big cube. That cube just lifts everybody up to the top. Then the people leave their little vehicle out of that big cube. They push forward. They see all the fun stuff in the fifth dimension room. And then they get loaded into another big cube that's held by different ropes and cables.
Yeah.
And then
it's mainly cubes. That's what you need to know.
Big cubes is what I'm talking about. We love cubes on this podcast. And then instead, I think my impression was that it kind of free fall dropped you. But that's not what it does. There's like a mechanism that's basically just shooting you up and down. It's like pushing you up and down. It's not just sort of free falling you. It's completely controlling your speed. And you're going faster than you would if you'd free falled. If they were just to drop if they were just to drop the cable, you would be going slower and feel like less intense motion than you would the way they do it now.
You are being pulled.
Yes,
down,
that's a better way to describe
it. And the fact I saw is if you hold a penny in your hand, as you fall, you will beat the penny will hover in the air a little because it's falling at the speed of gravity, and you are falling faster than that because you are strapped into a vehicle being pulled down.
I would recommend not doing that on the ride, though.
I would recommend, because you might miss out on some of the hilarious bits that people do as they're falling. Some of the very good jokes that people like to scream.
I would say,
what do they do? What have you had?
Yeah,
to
what
hear?
Jokes are you talking about?
They're just so funny. I can't remember. I'm just laughing too much.
I'm not sure actually though, because like Haunted Mansion, we've talked about it, and like I know people like to yell stuff in the room and scream, and we're not fans of that. You can call us old men. I don't care. I like to sit and enjoy the atmosphere. But Tower of Terror, I've never been like, oh, well, there's that bit again.
I think people just, when you are at the top, when you are holding at the top for a second, someone will go like, oh, I can see my car. Or like, I
Really?
feel like I have definitely heard.
I've
like,
never heard somebody do a joke like that at the top.
I do like to hear genuine people like, oh my God. Like, Tom, you didn't tell me it was this. Like, genuine anguish is very funny.
That's interesting. And I'm not trying to troll or anything. I just truly never, like, nothing sticks out to me when I'm at the top of any of these drop rides where I get annoyed. Scott, I guess you haven't been on many, but
yes, not enough for there to be a recurring trope. Yeah, I can see my car. Would that bother me if I heard it? I don't know. If it was my dad, maybe I'd give him some credit.
It all depends on the delivery, quite frankly,
Yeah.
So interesting.
Also, just like the parking lot is not in that view. If you're being accurate, you cannot see anybody's car.
Yeah.
So I have a problem with it on a factual level.
Well, I'm going to pay attention to this. Do you find that you have that happen on Guardians a lot, or no?
Guardians, it's hard to tell. Just it's so much noise. There's so much. The music is so loud. Sometimes you can't even hear Rocket. Like, I like his little jokes. They're pretty polished.
Yeah.
Leave it to the professionals, like Rocket.
Yeah.
That's our stance. That yanking faster than gravity situation. That's another thing I found in the Rafferty book, that they went and talked to the Otis elevator company, who did end up putting in the elevator mechanism for this attraction, and they went to a recently opened 50-story elevator shaft that they had built for some high rise, and they kind of just like talked about logistics, and then they went up to the top and then said, take this thing down the fastest it can go. And there was reticence about that. You sure? Okay, well, let's give it a shot. And then they did, and they didn't feel anything. They didn't even have like any heart drop. And they were like, that's really the fastest? So, yeah, it pretty much is. And that's when they realized, we can't just rely on what elevators already do. We have to pioneer new elevator technology if we actually want people to be weightless or really feel something.
Right.
But that is a funny thing that a real elevator company built this to do, as is said in the Imagineering story, the opposite of what elevators are supposed to do.
Yes, and I think in the Imagineering story, they're talking about like the people at the elevator company were like freaked out a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, we have to do the wrong thing. We make this go the right way. We make it do the right thing, and now we have to make it do the wrong thing.
Yeah. Very strange. The other thing, the moving through, I mean, I guess in a way, the end of Rise of the Resistance is sort of like a mini version of this, in that you're in a vehicle that moves into another little cage that drops. It's sort of similar, but this sort of is it the first trackless ride vehicle, that little sequence? Because you're moving along a wire that is guiding you.
Right.
That's a good question.
One end of that fifth floor to the other, the fifth dimension.
Maybe. I'm not sure. That's a good question.
I don't think I ever realized those autonomous guided vehicles, like, they have batteries. The batteries have to recharge in between like goes. Like, as you are getting off or getting loaded, like, they are charging the batteries.
Yeah, it's the time. I don't understand a lot of mechanics and technology, but I truly can't wrap your head around all the moving parts of something like this.
Yeah, that, like, I don't have anything, intelligent to say here about my experience finally going on this, other than, holy shit, I like waiting so long and then not doing it till last year. I don't think I'd ever seen a video of how the fifth dimension worked. I think I'd saved it to try to be brave and do in person. It's jaw dropping, and I feel like we got lucky. We were in a group last year where I felt like a lot of them hadn't done it either. It was like getting applause and gasps the way that various rooms in Rise of the Resistance do, and certainly from me. And that like split of that neon light when you enter into that final, that is so haunting. That is such a stirring moment that I feel like ended up in my actual dreams. That is so affecting and crazy.
Yeah, that moment. I'm trying to think if that's that's the most like stark. Probably, like, it's such a, I don't know why it's such like that's such a simple effect, and for whatever reason, sticks out so strongly.
Yeah, there's like nothing happening.
Right, a door
in a
opens
way,
with a neon light that just sort of slowly appears.
And yet it's so much like more minimalist and scary than a lot of what's in any other Disney attractions.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, did you guys watch any Twilight Zone episodes to get ready for this?
No.
Not really.
Okay. I watched the Nick of Time, which is one of the Shatner ones. Because that's one of the Easter eggs. The little devil fortune-telling device is in the queue. And I was like, I don't think I've ever seen this one before. And as I'm watching it, I'm slowly dawning on me like, oh, this one is bad. This one is not good. It's just like, I think William Shatner's character just is obsessive compulsive. Like it is in the way that at the Terror at 20,000 feet, he is right at the end. This one is just like, oh, this guy's just a worrywart. I don't know the lesson. I think they just put this in the queue because the prop is distinctive. But It's a Good Life, I watched the first few minutes of, and that is unsettling immediately.
Which
the kid with the powers?
Yeah,
like,
that's the one that the Rod Serling intro in the ride is pulled from.
Right.
Yes, which is another thing that never dawned on me, and it so much of it is in that episode in his introduction.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he says that like they cut. In the episode, he's in front of a map of the United States, not in front of an elevator bank. And the line I have, tonight's story on the Twilight Zone is somewhat unique and calls for a different kind of introduction. This, as you may recognize, is... Then in the ride, they cut that off and they show you ride stuff, and I don't think you ever see Serling again. But in the episode, It's a Good Life. Then it's actually kind of convoluted. You're like, why are you showing America? And then they end up with a boy who has mind powers and can control people's thoughts, as parodied on The Simpsons. It is one of the ones The Simpsons parodied.
Yes,
and you know what's another weird thing about It's a Good Life? It's one of the 4 that is in Twilight Zone the movie, and it's directed by Joe Dante, director of Gremlins, who directed the pre-show video for Tower of Terror.
Yes, that's cool and crazy.
Yeah.
Has a lot of theme park movie credits to his name. I feel like.
Has he done other ride stuff?
Yeah, what is?
Well, he did that Haunted Lighthouse 4D that I am like... very much want to know more about, the Christopher Lloyd thing that would play at Busch Gardens and SeaWorld. I feel like there was another ride thing he directed that's I'm blanking on right now. But like was a guy did the Tower of Terror probably the most notable one.
Hi. I feel like I'm like popping up out of a gopher hole. Hi. Hello. This is Lindsay and Kelly from the Teen Creeps podcast, and we want to let all Forever Dog listeners know that Mint Mobile is introducing their unlimited data plan for just $30 a month.
Go ahead and let that sink in.
How much are you getting charged now? Huh? Let us guess. Way too much?
Probably. By going online only and eliminating the traditional costs of retail, Mint Mobile passes significant savings onto you.
All plans come with unlimited talk and text, plus high-speed data delivered on the nation's largest 5G network.
You can use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and keep your same phone number along with all of your existing contacts. Oh my God, I just imagined a world where I couldn't keep my contacts.
And then you'd be like, I don't know anybody anymore. If you're not 100% satisfied, Mint Mobile has you covered with their 7-day money-back guarantee.
We both use Mint Mobile. My best friend uses Mint Mobile. Your mom and sister use Mint Mobile. I have experienced absolutely no difference. I may as well be on the same service I was before.
Nothing but joy, baby.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody loves it. Everybody loves it. I'm screaming about it to everybody.
Break up with Big Wireless and switch to Mint Mobile's premium unlimited data plan for $30 a month.
And make sure to check out the ultimate YA Pulp Fiction podcast, Teen Creeps. That's our podcast. Every Wednesday, right here on Forever Dog.
To get your new unlimited wireless plan for just $30 a month and get the plan shipped to your door for free, go to mintmobile.com/theride.
That's mintmobile.com/theride.
Hey, Forever Dog listeners, it's Jonathan Braylock,
Draw Milligan,
and James III.
from Black Men Can't Jump in Hollywood. This year, we have seen what staying silent can do. And right now, you have an unprecedented opportunity to speak up, cast your vote, and be heard.
It's never too early to register to vote, but it might be too late before you know it.
We want to help make it easy for you to register and have a plan for November 3rd or before if early voting is an option in your state so that your country can finally reflect your values.
Yes, go to foreverdogpodcast.com/vote to register. Check on your registration often. You should do it like every day to make sure and learn how to fill out your ballot.
I don't know about every day, but listen.
Every day.
All right, still register.
Good. Am I good? All right.
Gotta make sure people care.
All right, each state is different, so make sure you're following local rules and regulations. And remember, your voice, your vote. That's foreverdogpodcast.com/vote.
Take care of yourselves and take care of each other.
Yeah, but y'all better vote.
All right, go vote.
Hello, Forever Dog listeners. This is Julie Klausner,
And I'm Tom Sharpling.
and we host a podcast called Double Threat on the Forever Dog Network that we are commanding you to subscribe to. Tom, what is Double Threat?
Well, thank you for asking, Julie. Double Threat's a show where you and I listen to clips of things that drive us up the wall, and we make fun of them, and we make each other laugh, and we have a great time doing it.
And we watch silly things and listen to silly clips like Alec Baldwin interviewing Woody Allen on his podcast, which was a nightmare from hell.
And did you know that disgraced pizza magnate Papa John is giving tours of his mansion over on TikTok? We do, because we watched it, and it was not good.
By the way, we should also mention that the AV Club named us one of the best podcasts of 2020 because they did, and it's true, and we are, baby.
And here on Double Threat, we got great guests. We had guests like Deezus and Mero,
Bob the Drag Queen,
Patton Oswalt,
Io Adebri.
and that, my friends, is just the tip of the iceberg.
That
Double
is-
Threat comes out each and every Monday, and you can subscribe on the Forever Dog Network, Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcasts.
Do it. Subscribe. Goodbye.
Yeah, that's a huge one.
Another reference to It's a Good Life. In the hotel lobby, there is a poster promoting the Anthony Fremont Orchestra, which is a pretty good joke because that is the little boy with powers. And in the episode, he hates music.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good little dry thing. Well,
Yeah.
then he would have really hated that that little intro to his episode was sampled. In fact, that the same one that's used in the ride, the somewhat unique and calls for a different kind of introduction, is sampled on a song called "Threatened," which is a song by Michael Jackson. The final song on his final album, Invincible. It starts with a little Rod Serling sample. Another fun fact about the song Threatened, it sucks. Awful. That entire, you can, and there's things that are just like, with everything going on, you're like, oh, but I want to retain, I still want to listen to Billie Jean or whatever. No one is fighting for Invincible. It's garbage front to back. He rejected Rock Your Body, Timberlake's Rock Your Body. He said no, so that he could do 16 tracks of just like, ooh, cha, ga. Give it a try. Put it on Spotify and see if you disagree with me.
I have a feeling I'm not going to disagree with this.
Yeah, I'm not going to fight you on that one.
That was a challenge to anyone. Anyone, if you like the song "Threatened" and you feel threatened by my dislike of "Threatened," then I don't know the end of this sentence. I don't know what.
Do we know?
I don't know.
Do we know if Michael Jackson rode Tower of Terror?
Did he do a Disney World trip when it was out? We know that he went to Phantasialand to go on the Michael Jackson
His
thrill
own ride, yes.
Yeah.
Feels like he must. Yeah, did he get the idea? Did he say, like, I want this to...
Yeah, that's my question.
to start like the Tower of Terror?
Right. I don't see... I just searched his name in the ride, and nothing popped up picture-wise, so who knows? We'll have to dig deep on that.
Though there are many photos of people on this attraction. Do you guys have good photos of you on this? Do you have childhood photos of you up at the top?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't think we have any childhood photos of us doing this. I have from recent trips. I have some of the cool like videos they've been doing recently.
Yes. This was the first ride at Walt Disney World that had on-ride videos offered to purchase.
They have a fully they put you in fully in like an edited video of like with shots of like the whole tower and then the thing crashing, but then inside they cut to like an actual video of the whole cabin thing going up and down, and it's like kind of in slow motion. It's pretty cool.
Wow. We don't have the video of us on.
We don't have video of us because I did not have a Premiere Pass at the time, which allowed me to have full photo pass privileges.
That came with, because you at one point had the pass that works for both parks, because you went to both with like West Coast and East Coast.
Right. When we were planning our first Florida trip, I crunched some numbers and I figured out that if I upgraded the annual pass to a Premier Pass, I don't think it makes sense anymore money wise, but at the time it was actually the kind of reasonable. And I was like, actually, if you just put the money we're going to spend on the tickets into the Premier Pass, we can get the Premier Pass and get more perks. And that was part of it.
Yeah, geez. Like your videos.
My family did that in when we were in the vacation club. We went back 2 years in a row, and I think we went in August, and we knew we'd back the next year, maybe more likely June or July, and it was just like, let's just get annual pass. Like, this is cheaper than buying multiple sets of 5-day passes or 7-day passes or whatever.
And you just feel like a king. You feel like you can go. Part of it, having an annual pass to Florida, you're like, well, maybe we'll go next weekend. I mean, you don't, but you do feel like you have some freedom. There's a freedom in knowing you can do that.
Well, also in the 90s, they had a lot more aggressive ticketing offers, which came back after 9/11 and are somewhat back right now, although we are not advising you to necessarily rush out and do it. But I believe Universal currently has a buy 2 days, get 3 days for free, which is not usually how economics works.
Yeah, they're doing like that's like Six Flag offer where it's like, walk by the entrance and get a year free. wave at a Valencia teen and get a free year of admission.
Within 5 miles of the park, and it'll just automatically be on your driver's license. You just scan it, and then you get into Six Flags.
That's right. Yeah. So that might be coming back across the board after the pandemic is over
at all the theme parks. We've talked about the Rod Serling intro, and we're maybe jumping all around a little bit, but that's really fantastic. I also just want to give it the credit of, I feel like they're from the same year, and I associate that video piece with Forrest Gump, in that the idea of pulling somebody from old footage was the most difficult thing in the world to do. It was like such a magic trick at the time, and I think we take it for granted now. And of course, if you do visual effects or anything, rotoscoping is really difficult. Like, they had to cut him out frame by frame, which he's standing still, so that helps you. But if you watch that's what would surprise me when I watched the real footage that they pulled it from, that he was in front of a totally different background, and they married it. It's not like he was in front of a green screen where they could just put something different behind him,
right,
to really work that. And the impression's very good too. That's very
and that guy, which I have his name written down here somewhere, he does a Rod Serling voice on the new Twilight Zone.
Oh, when he because he in the one that just came out.
Yes.
Oh right, yes, because there's this weird appearance of,
and that's him. He's back.
Shouldn't spoiler it.
His name, I have his name somewhere here. It's Ben. I think it's Ben something.
He has a name. He has a person.
I'm sorry if you're listening.
You can look it up. Joe Dante, the name of the man who directed the intro. The rest of the intro is great too. This whole story of, this is something I wanted to talk about. Jason, you brought up what is the lesson? You had a problem with what's the Twilight Zone lesson of that one Shatner one. So with this, 5 people get in an elevator. There's a movie star and her kind of also Hollywood beau. I don't know what he does exactly. There's a little kid actress like Shirley Temple and her caretaker or nanny or something, and a bellhop. And these 5 get into an elevator, Halloween night, 1939. and it is struck by lightning, and they end up in the 5th dimension. What's the lesson? What's the Twilight Zone? But remember, don't do.
Well, now the lesson for us is next time you check into a deserted hotel on the dark side of Hollywood, make sure you know what kind of vacancy you're filling. But I don't know what lesson those people were supposed to get.
It seems like it's not their fault in any way.
No, I don't think they were not at fault. Some Twilight Zones supposedly don't really have a strong lesson. The famous ones I think do, but sometimes it's just a kooky adventure, kooky, supernatural, scary adventure, which I guess is what this is. But Rod Serling certainly presents it as if we're supposed to learn something by the end of this.
It's got that judgy tone.
Exactly. He's judging
5 people who dared to think that an elevator
put a woman
could work like normal.
She wore a fancy fur coat. And I don't know. Is that it?
Is she an animal killer?
Is it about fame? Is it like they came to Hollywood with big dreams and they sold out? Like they only did commercials and they didn't do authentic film and make points about the world.
The medium forward.
Right. It was very basic. Their ideas about film and culture were basic.
Did the bellhop steal from the customers of the hotel? Did he take luggage? Did he pull schemes that way? Maybe was he being punished?
Perhaps, yeah. It's unclear. Yeah. I think it's kind of a choose your own adventure. Who you think is at fault and what they need to learn and why are we caught up in it? Why do we have to be punished?
Yeah, I know. For their non-crimes?
Yeah.
These people got in an elevator and then it fell and now you're going to fall.
Mm-hmm. I think.
Is it about not doing your research? Maybe that's to tie together Jason's point. Is it you got to do your Travelocity? You have to read the reviews. So this is on you for not reading the reviews of the Hollywood Terror Hotel that say don't stay here. It hasn't been open since 1939.
And maybe it's actually a larger point. Because I'm sure Disney gets a lot of people complaining about lines and when do they go and they don't know what the ticket situation is and what is a fast pass and where do you get it. And I'm sure Disney is so annoyed because it's just look it up, do your research. And they made the Tower of Terror to say, we're going to this is what should happen to you who don't research. You should go and complain. You'll become ghosts. We could do that to you if we wanted. So learn your lesson.
When did the Hays
drop
Code?
Our regular elevators? You could have real elevator mishaps in the Swan or the Dolphin, but instead we're going to teach you this one.
Right.
When did the Hays Code take effect? Could these be decadent pre-Hays Code Hollywood denizens? The code that the government the studios agreed to abide by to not have a woman sitting on a bed with her foot off the ground. Two people smiling at each other. All those
I'm still against a woman sitting on a bed in a movie.
Mike, you are a big proponent to bring back the Hays Code. Amp up the Hays Code.
Yeah.
Separate beds. Why you're an I Love Lucy fan?
Yes, that is the main reason. Yeah,
maybe were they? This would have been too early, or they aren't communists.
That's what I was just about to say. Is it a chance that the 5 of them were communists and they were being punished for it? I wonder, is there a secret lesson that the Imagineers know but we don't know and they just never said?
Where and it was maybe even shot in some regard, and then they decided you're not going to be in that room for too long, so let's just kind of have it be a random horror event,
right? And we don't want to offend somebody who might actually fall into whatever these 5 people are doing.
Yeah, they don't want to if the backstory is that it's the problem was with the movie star and the guy that they are going up to a room to have sex before marriage, and that is why everyone is punished.
Right.
And they decided, well, do we really want to lay that guilt trip on anyone living in sin who might be going on this ride?
Right.
We don't want anyone living in sin to go on the ride, but it might happen.
Right. And they knew that the subtext would be there, and you could kind of understand it maybe just without having it as a conscious thought in your own head. So,
And there are consequences for the other hotel guests, the people who had to abandon their mahjong game in the lobby. The guy who, in the opening special, they're like, look, someone got here from a colder climate, put their overcoat down, got their hotel key, got their newspaper, and it's just left here. So I'm assuming everyone evacuated when it was struck by lightning, and that's why they left all their stuff, you know.
I saw a lot about this mahjong game, and of course, my first question, Jason, is: were you a mahjong kid?
No, I don't know how to play mahjong. I don't know how to play backgammon or bridge, and
that's my heart broke each time you said each of those games.
I know.
Because at least bridge, I was like, come on, bridge. And then it was not, you didn't play bridge.
As someone who likes old-timey bullshit, it is shocking that I have not learned those things.
We should learn how to play.
During quarantine. That's a perfect time to learn.
Can we play online bridge?
You need 4. We'll have to, can we teach the sector keeper
to play bridge? Yeah, I'm sure.
I feel like that is a fact I know, but I could be wrong. Maybe you need minimum 4, but you can play more with bridge.
We got to figure this out.
I'm
if we
not
can play
sure.
online bridge.
I was a big Mancala kid. I liked Mancala, where you put the stones in the little divots.
We played Mancala.
The stones. Yeah, I played Mancala. We're all Mancala kids?
Yeah.
Wow.
Is that the new tagline for the podcast?
3 Mancala kids.
3 Mancala kids.
Yeah. 3 grown Mancala kids.
Right. Maybe.
It's pretty
we'll
early.
Roll it around in our heads here.
Whoa, 3 grown Mancala kids? I'm
wow.
in. Screw these other podcasts. I'm never listening to Comedy Bang Bang again.
Yeah.
I'm hanging out with these Mancala guys week after week.
We truly become a juggernaut of podcasting, and Dubai flies us out after that, we explode. Yeah.
Maybe it's like Go, which I don't know how to play either. The Japanese, the white black pebbles that you turn over. You're trying to get the whole board. Is apparently, they say, maybe even more complex than chess. But
interesting.
Yeah, I'll have to learn all these games.
Yeah. Mark Silverman is Rod Serling's voice.
You're like, I think it's Ben something.
I think I was thinking Ben Silverman, the former NBC executive.
Why do we all know that? Why do we all know that Ben Silverman?
I don't know.
Too mired, and we were warped by Disney MGM Studios. Now we know who executives are.
And Robert Evans, I think, also.
Yeah,
you bet we do. There's in trying to conjure backstories. Well, we haven't talked about this. And when we're not going to, because if you can imagine, I think this is a topic to cover in to divide off in a separate Hauntcast, the Fright down the road. There is the film. We haven't acknowledged the made-for-TV movie with Kirsten Dunst and Steve Guttenberg, which now those 2 play characters who are not in the ride, but they are exploring, as far as I know, the legend of these 5 who this mishap happens to. And I think because of the movie, there's enough information to cobble together at least their names. Carolyn Cresson, that's the movie star, played by Melora Hardin in the in the film. Gilbert London is the movie star. Dewey Todd, great name, is the bellhop. Sally Shine is the little kid actress, and the nanny is Emmeline Partridge. Now, you might in the movie learn why they deserved to fall down in the elevator. Maybe you discover they're all living in various kinds of sin and bad people, and it had to happen. But I don't know. We'll watch.
We will get there. Yeah, we have to do that.
Yeah.
But the Disney.fandom.com has a little breakdown of all of these characters. I think based more on what happens in the movie. And that leads to this trivia section for all of the characters. And I clicked on this. And this is, I think, some really fun trivia that I learned about these characters. Sally is very clearly modeled after real-life child actress Shirley Temple. This might be an indication that Sally's life as a child actress was particularly hellish, given the amount of atrocities directed at the real-life Temple during her time in the spotlight. What? Like, just because she's in like a dress and has curls, that means that her life was hellish? That's a kind of a leap.
You mean you actually mean Shirley Temple or this actress?
Well, no, I know things happened to Shirley Temple, but why does it then follow that Sally Shine had a hellish life?
I guess.
And then...
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say that is the assumption that especially back then, any child actor probably had just an awful time of it. Which
I mean, probably.
Yeah.
You would have to assume. But I just like that is pulled from one shot of a girl moving from a desk to an elevator. Well, her life must have been hellish. She must have been starved and made to work for 48 hours in a row and fed a diet of meth, sheep sperm, and monkey gonads. Additionally, then on the other page for Emmeline Partridge, the nanny, Sally Shine being made to resemble Shirley Temple could be an indication that Emmeline was somewhat abusive regarding Sally's career and operations, given the tragedy. Like, so now we're judging the nanny, like the nanny beat up Sally, or like was gonna throw her out of the out of the hotel window.
Look,
where is this fun trivia coming from? I don't get it.
It was still a few decades before the Eddie Munster law took effect, before they got, a little more protection for the child actors.
It's not Eddie Munster though. It's isn't it Jackie Coogan who was Fester?
Was it Fester?
I know I know Jackie Coogan was a advocate for child set safety.
The Jackie Coogan law ensures the financial well-being of child actors by mandating their employer set aside 15% of the child actor's gross earnings in a Coogan trust account where it can be monitored.
I got my spooky shows mixed up.
I would love if there was an Eddie Munster law, though. Is there a different law you're thinking of that Eddie Munster, the character from the Munsters, enacted? Maybe there was an episode where he went to the local government and he got something like more like dragons are now legal in everyone's house or something.
Oh, sure.
So
it was a zoning issue. He made it illegal to discriminate in a workplace against people with werewolf widow's peaks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You can't fire somebody just because they have a pointy haircut.
By the way, Al Lewis has been coming up a lot, who played Grandpa on the Munsters. Al Lewis was 42 years old on the Munsters. What? Yes. I looked it up. I was watching an interview with him, and I was like, he's still, in the 2000s, he's alive. Hey, he wasn't a grandpa age. And then I looked it up, and it was 42, and I was like, oh my God. As a kid, I thought he was this is a 70-year-old man. Anyway,
and now now his memory lives on when Giuliani goes to a hairstylist. Make me look like this. Give me the Al Lewis.
Give me a haircut.
So we'll explore these characters when we watch the film. My condolences to Sally Shine for her hellish life, according to this unpaid fandom.com writer. Mm-hmm. But the video's neat, and then of course you go up into the shaft and you see them all float away and disappear into the fifth dimension. That's if you watch that video, how the Tower of Terror works, that breaks down kind of the schematic of where the mirrors are, where the Pepper's ghost happens. I don't think I realized that, you're looking down this hallway and then it all disappears and becomes stars and just a floating door, and that the full setup there are real walls. It's all actually there, but it's a scrim so that you can fade it down, and once there's no lighting, you can see right through it. The characters, your Sally Shines et al., are all down below. Like there's a mirror bouncing from below your point of view in the shaft, and then it's a rear projection making the door. It's like all of these, classic theater tricks all working in tandem.
Yeah, it's crazy how a lot of that stuff, even on newer rides, it's like, oh yeah, these are the old tricks. These are just the old tricks, like maybe slightly upgraded, but like mostly just the same fun stuff that always works.
Right? The theory is always
Scrim.
there. Scrim stuff.
Scrim stuff.
I was just going to say the scrim on the Knott's Scary Farm scrim at the end of one of the mazes, where you'd be walking down like a normal hospital hallway, and then the lights would flicker, and then the scrim would change, and you'd be looking at hell. It would have like the walls you could see through, and it was hell with a giant demon.
Yeah.
Like
that's cool as hell.
Yeah, very cool.
Cool as hell.
Yeah.
Just walked into that. What are details we haven't
I got
talked about?
I got a Sally Shine thing. Because she came up. Of course, one of the little Easter eggs in there kind of connects, mentioned elsewhere in the ride. Sally Shine has a little stuffed Mickey Mouse. And that is there's hidden Mickeys throughout the ride. But the thing I don't know, I must have seen this before, but not processed the implications. In the library, where you can find a number of Easter eggs, there's a piece of sheet music. And this was an actual song from the time period. But the full title of the song, I'm going to read it in how I think it's supposed to be said. The sheet music is called, "What? No, Mickey Mouse. What kind of party is this?"
What?
Which, I mean, that's people just used to call songs very long sentences, or like "My beloved," I my dearest, that sort of thing. But the presence of that sheet music of the Tower of Terror, just imagining a Hollywood lush walking into this hotel after it had been struck by lightning going, "What kind of party is this?" Like, it's such a dark joke.
Is there a way to get our hands on the sheet music and try to do a cover of this without hearing any actual recorded version?
Oh, wow. That's a great idea.
Oh,
is that possible? I don't know.
That might require, like, somebody needs to have photographed that really well.
Yeah.
The full lyrics do exist. I'm back on Disney.fandom.com.
Oh.
Really the unofficial sponsor of this episode. When Noah planned his famous... I'll try to make up a melody. When Noah planned his famous ark, he knew just what to do. He searched until he found a park and walked off with the zoo. With lions, tigers, monkeys, donkeys, he sailed the ocean wide. And when he lined them up on deck, 'twas then some cuckoo cried. What? No Mickey Mouse? What kind of a party is this?
Well, that's the official melody. I think that's the official melody now.
That's probably it. Yeah. They call it. Then later, vote for Mickey Mouse. Let's make him our next president. To Congress, he's sure to say, "Meow, meow, okay. How dry I am. Have one on me." What the fuck is this song talking about?
Mickey Mouse used to tie one off in the 30s a lot more.
And say meow, meow.
Tie one on? Meow, meow, meow.
Sure. Why would he say meow? And then he'll cry, "Give me the facts. Give me my axe. I'll cut your tax. He'll show us all what can be done when he's in Washington." So this starts as a song about Noah, the Ark, and the zoo, and what kind of a party is it without Mickey Mouse, and then becomes about how we have to elect Mickey president, during which they call him Bolsheviki.
I don't know.
The strangest song in history.
I mean, I'll elect Mickey as president right now. He wasn't my first choice in the primary, but certainly better than what we have.
Look, Jack, look. Me and Pluto and the boys hanging out down Toontown docks.
And then big old Pete was after me, and Clarabelle. I'm trying to think. There's got to be like a quirkier characters that I'm forgetting here that I could reference for this joke to be better.
Mortimer.
Mortimer.
Fresh boy Mortimer.
M dog. Seabell. We used to go down to the old swimming hole. Play with the nickels.
Look, Donald, if you don't vote for me, you ain't a duck, man.
Yeah, that's it. Oh God!
Look, we're voting for him. Don't worry.
Yeah, we're voting.
We're doing it. Just because we make fun of it doesn't mean we're not.
Stop it! You don't yell at us. We're voting for Mickey.
We're voting for Mickey, of course.
They also this song then was covered in 1970. They did a new version of it performed by Phil Harris, the voice of Baloo. And in that one, they updated it and they put in the line, let's give Nixon's house to Mickey Mouse. Phil Harris, in a song, proposes ousting Nixon and putting Mickey Mouse in there, which truly, could anyone have any objection to that? In 1970, how much atrocity could have been avoided? What a national... I mean, the whole fabric of the country could be different if we'd all listened to Phil Harris.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
And also, if you look up Phil Harris's famous album, The South Will Rise Again.
Oh, no.
That's real. That's a real... Sorry.
Oh, wait, you told us that.
Sorry to break that to everyone.
Oh, no. All right, don't always listen to Phil Harris. Just about...
We got it. You said always listen to Phil Harris.
No,
we got it.
No, I have a sound bite. Don't... Whatever Lincoln Project within our show is
well,
the Mickey Project to oust Scott Gairdner from Podcast The Ride.
The Mickey Project. The animatronic Lincoln Project.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah. That's what it is.
Well, they spent
Lincoln
10
Project.
million rotoscoping footage of Phil Harris to dab. So,
well, we're all right. Cover of this song coming.
cover
We'll
of
work on
this
that.
song.
Oh my
But
God! What a sidetrack.
There's funny little. I mean, they're the most kind of the more infamous little dark jokes. The pinboard with the letters in the lobby for a long time, the letters that you just push into black felt. For a long time, that said, at the very bottom, it said Evil Tower. And after 9/11, they took out Evil Tower. And they replaced it.
Really?
I think now it says You Are Doomed. Little more generic, but
Yeah, that makes sense.
yeah, probably a good call.
Probably a good
Oh,
call.
the person who realized that, the person who was checking the ride and then went, oh.
Yeah.
Wow. Wild.
This is less dark. I don't have much information about this fact, but Michael Eisner, maybe you guys do. Michael Eisner suggested maybe we could make it a real hotel,
Yeah.
Cool.
which I love the idea of that, but
Yeah.
I think logistically that was a big pain in the ass.
He
Yeah,
was
I have to
right.
build that.
That would come to pass. Hotel built into theme park, California Adventure, Disneyland Paris, Tokyo Disney Sea.
Well,
it did happen.
Yeah, and we've talked about this before on the show. And Star Wars is doing this, of course, but the fully themed hotel seems like it's just a money printing machine. Like a full spooky Tower of Terror hotel would be sold out before every other hotel if it was themed as well as the lobby of Tower of Terror.
Absolutely. Maybe now they can just do a suite. They just put in one room that's a really lavish experience. Because I don't think at this point you can fit rooms into that structure.
No.
It might be too late.
I think it's too late. They, of course, at least rumor-wise, we're talking about putting a Tower of Terror bar lounge, which is, a fantastic idea. And I'm shocked that they didn't do it. Because,
Yeah.
all people, as we've said before, all people want to do is hang out and linger in these areas and environments longer. You just want to you want it to last a little bit longer, being in this vibe, being in a vibe of a ride you like.
Yeah, if they could get it at the top somehow also.
Well-
Although then you have to build a real
Yeah.
elevator that doesn't malfunction.
Yes, there would have to be regular. I mean, the idea that you could stay in a hotel and if you stayed at the top floor, you'd probably have to pay the most money, but then you could take the elevator down, you could take the ride down to start your day every day would be the greatest thing.
I looked this up in Eisner's book. And he did want it to not only have a real hotel surrounding it, but that the ride would drop into the lobby. So where people actually checked in, people are landing and screaming. This was definitely what he wanted.
That's great.
He also, I don't think we've talked about this on the show. There's something that he cites a lot, and in this case, he says, "Well, it's kind of. I always try to go for the craziest idea, kind of like the Mickey Mouse Hotel." There's a story that he tells as an example of this is the kind of out-of-the-box thinking I wanted to bring to the Disney company. The area where the animation building is now in Burbank, where there's a big sorcerer's hat, that was undeveloped at the time. And when he got to Disney, he proposed building a huge hotel that is Mickey Mouse. Like, it's a giant 200-foot tall Mickey, and you could live in his arm, in his foot. I mean, I guess in his crotch, probably. I mean, it's all on the table.
Wow, you could live in his seat.
You can.
Yeah.
Do you have any seat rooms left?
The seat room is the non-smoking section, or maybe it's the smoking section.
Or it's, do you want to be? How desirable is the seat to the general
Was
public?
there windows in this proposal? Would there be like a window seat room, like where you could like?
So then Mickey is just like full of holes.
That's what I'm getting at. It doesn't seem like it seemed like it would be like the Star Wars hotel where it's like there's not really windows. Maybe there was like screens inside to simulate like cartoon land outside.
Right.
Well, you black out the windows and any touches of black. So like his legs or like around his hand, you put the windows on the black colors.
Huh.
It's so insane. It's like Dr. Evil being in a big statue of Dr. Evil.
Yes, it is. Yes, it feels like it would come to life. Then it would get like cursed, or like the Ghostbusters would get that plasma and use it to bring Mickey to life, like in a Ghostbusters 2, with the Statue of Liberty. Like that would be
that's that was done to like bring good vibes to New York, and I think good vibes are needed everywhere right now. And if only a 200-foot tall Mickey Mouse could walk around and wave to everybody.
Oh my God, yes,
that would do a lot. That would fix a ton.
Jackie Wilson played Your Love,
and he could
Your Love, you're lifting me higher.
He could pick up the old tail of the pup building, the old big hot dog.
And eat it?
And maybe take a big bite out of it.
Wow, that would be great. That would be the moment that would bring America back together.
If Newsom's not going to open the parks, he needs to devote, I'd say, 60% of the state's budget to making a giant... Really a Gundam.
Yes, that Gundam that they...
Size. Yeah, we've seen the tests of that.
Yes.
We need to do that, but for Mickey.
Yeah, I think that's
right. And I want to pay for it with my taxes.
Yeah.
I insist.
Yeah, so... where was I thinking? I've lost my complete train of thought. Thinking, fantasizing about...
we're talking about a Mickey stomping around the town?
About giant Mickey and being able to wave at him and live in his seat.
We could talk about what changed in the DCA or the opening of that. Not to we could circle back to any details we missed to the other one. But this is where when I was talking about Geyser Mountain forever ago, that this sort of grew out of some proto Geyser Mountain pitch in the late 80s. Apparently, Disneyland was getting close to doing Geyser Mountain rather than the Tower of Terror. Like we were going to get a totally different version, and it was going to be in that zone that is now Galaxy's Edge, as Mike said. And they were maybe honing in on a plan to do that. And then California Adventure opened, and it was a disaster, and they needed to bail it out as quickly as possible. So this idea was vacated from Frontierland, and they I remember how quick it felt. Like the DCA was only open for a little bit, and then it was like, all right, screw it, Tower of Terror. Like, take that parking lot out. It's becoming a Tower of Terror.
Yeah.
ASAP.
Yeah.
It's very reminiscent, I feel like, of the story they tell about pirates in Disney World, where it's like they're going to build a Western River Expedition or whatever, and then it's like people are mad. Oh, wait, just throw pirates in, and it's going to be less good.
Yeah.
It's like the same kind of panic move with a less good version of the thing people like.
I don't only think about rides and theme parks. Don't underestimate me. I think about big, heavy stuff sometimes, like how small changes sometimes turn into bigger lifestyle changes. For example, you start waking up 5 minutes earlier every week. Suddenly, before you know it, that goes from 8 a.m. to 6:30 a.m. Meatless Monday turns into vegetarianism. Subbing soda with water once a day leads to cutting out soda completely. Little changes to everyday life can lead to positive lifestyle changes. Another example, the right towel turns a bathroom into a spa. The right bedding turns a bed into a retreat. What I'm getting at here is Brooklinen products. They've brought new life and feeling into my home. And not only that, they've motivated and encouraged more positive life changes for me, for my family. Because if you sleep right, the whole rest of your day goes better. And that's what happens with these luxury products available at a low price. You know, I'm a new parent. Sleep is very important when I can actually get it. And thanks to Brooklinen, when I sleep, it is so comfortable, I'm better equipped to take care of and entertain my little baby, who, by the way, really likes it when we bounce him around on, you guessed it, Brooklinen sheets. Brooklinen was founded in early 2014 by husband and wife duo Rich and Vicky Fulop. And now Rich and Vicky Fulop's company has moved beyond the bedroom to offer bathroom and life essentials. Brooklinen.com is the perfect place to start making small changes that make big differences. Brooklinen is so confident in their product that all their sheets, comforters, loungewear, and towels come with a lifetime warranty. Go on, make yourself comfortable. Get 10% off your first order and free shipping when you use promo code RIDE. Only at brooklinen.com. R-I-D-E, RIDE. One of the words in the name of the show. Brooklinen. Everything you need to live your most comfortable life. I heard this other interesting point of view about what makes the Disneyland and the Paris ones a little lesser, which is that by the show, the queue, basically everything happens out in front of the tower, and then the tower is wait, am I getting this wrong? Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, the fact that the show scenes are in the back in Florida allows the tower to be the furthest, the closest thing to you, the guest, looking up at the tower thinking, should I go on this ride or not? So it kind of seems taller. You can get closer to the big scary part and it really looms over you. Whereas it's all set back in the California and Paris ones because the queue is up in the front.
Right.
That seems a little obscure. Like, I don't know how much damage that really does. But I guess it is true. It does make the building less imposing.
Yeah, I mean, Florida's being set back, seemingly like feeling like it's on a hill. You got to walk up a little bit. It immediately sets the mood in a much better way than the one did in California, because California, you just turn a corner and it's right there. And they did a better job when they revamped California Adventure with the red car trolley to make it sort of feel period appropriate, but it's still just like sitting there, and it just doesn't have the magic, especially like at night in Florida when you see it. It feels so set back in the way that like Frankenstein's castle feels, or any sort of scary building in a movie or something. Like, it's just so much better. It immediately starts the vibe, I feel like.
When you get the Sunset Boulevard ramp up, similar to Radiator Springs being set at the end of that whole drag of Radiator
exactly.
Springs. It's like you have it's like a queue before the queue a little bit, so you're really ready to do it once you're actually in the ride.
If you're like when I was a kid and like you don't know what it is at all, other than you drop and it's scary, like walking up to something makes it feel, I don't know, for whatever reason, it just makes it feel more intimidating, just the way that it's set like that.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, they obviously had not much of a choice to really. They just were like, we got to dump it somewhere. So let's.
Yeah, I think so. And that space made sense, and they're tying it all together, and it's going to end up tying into Marvel too, even though they've done this odd kind of out of place retheming of it for now. I guess what was my other point about it? I think the other thing, by dropping that fifth dimension thing, the capacity increases a lot.
Right.
Like the least reliable part of the ride is gone, and there's 3 drop towers instead of Wait, no, there's 2 in Florida, correct?
There's 2 in Florida. It's four things to get you in the back of the building. 4 shafts to get you up to the 5th dimension. There's 2 5th dimensions.
2 5th dimensions
on top of each other. Those 2 go into it all feeds into one. It slowly kind of narrows down. There's crazy blueprints too of and so the elevator's going to leave the shaft and go through the lobby, then go through the boiler. There's crazy blueprints for because I think that's why the lobby is so good. Like you said, Eisner wanted it to end in the lobby. The lobby is so detailed because it might have at some point in time be considered to be a show scene.
You know what it is? It's like brackets is what it is. 4 narrowed down to 2. Really think of it as brackets.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then the California, it's 3 shafts with 6 different places to enter with 2 levels.
So that they can load. Yeah, you're either up top or down on the bottom, and you can load at either one of those. So they can have a car ready for the tower while the other one's doing it.
Right. And there's only I was confused up until a year or 2 ago when it was you also kind of load into a vehicle on the tower out here. I didn't realize that because one time I go, I see now where the mechanism hooks to pull you forward once you're done with the ride, and then you when you push out from the exit, you get loaded into this little box, and that little box or that cube, the cube.
It's the cube.
There's the 3 cubes, so that cube is always working, but the cube changes. It goes up and down to go back and forth between the levels. That's the most confusing way I could have said that, but
the cube is always working.
The cube is always working, but the little cars are not always working. They're alternating.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This is why, look, you listen to the show for the jokes, not for the, you can watch your detailed explanations on YouTube, but in those, you're probably not going to get the jokes.
You're not going to get the jokes.
And the voices and all that fun stuff.
The cubes and 100 grand bar references. Al Lewis talk. No, I've seen Fresh Baked Disney. He doesn't just wander into an Al Lewis discussion. Come on, Fresh Baked.
He's alarmingly on topic.
Yeah, what is that?
Yeah.
Come on. Cubes, folks.
Cubes working. There's some fun tricks. There's some fun tricks in the California one. Rooms become Starfield. It's not. I'm not saying it's not cool, but if it had come along first and then the Florida one came along, could you imagine how blown away you would be?
Right.
As opposed to the other way around, where in one summer, California got abbreviated Tower of Terror and abbreviated Revenge of the Mummy is so funny.
Right.
Man, dark times.
And of course, and we'll save this for the actual Mission Breakout episode, but California then solved a problem we didn't know existed by making the drop sequence more entertaining and a little longer still, I think.
Yeah.
Which I think you can't, because basically what I'm saying is after Mission Breakout, which I know Mission Breakout is controversial still, which I'm a big fan. It's my favorite ride other than Big Thunder at the resort. I have to admit it. I go on it almost every time. If I can go on one ride, it's oftentimes that. I think I think they did a really great job with it. But the actual ride itself. So when we went in Tokyo's and then we went back to Florida, and the actual drop sequence basically just happens in the dark with no music, and it feels a little underwhelming. But that's not its fault. I don't want to be negative here, because before I was spoiled with the drop sequence of Guardians of the Galaxy. I didn't think twice. About it.
But it is randomized now in Florida.
Yeah,
the Tower of Terror is randomized.
Fun. It's still fun.
And you get a taste of that at Guardians too, because you don't know what song you're going to get.
Yeah.
It kind of changes and the footage changes.
It almost feels like now that I've seen the Guardians, you would want something similar with the Twilight Zone, where you stop, you see a weird, creepy scene, and you go back up. There's something to do there. I don't think you can do that though, especially in Florida, because there's not much in front of you in Florida. In California, they just repurposed the normal Tower of Terror scenes and areas to be with those, have the screens and have the one like control room part.
Oh, right. Yeah, there's no scenes in the tower. I guess that is the California innovation that along that, which enables that Guardians experience, that the doors open and you don't know what you're going to get. In Florida, the doors only open at the top.
Right, because there's just no other spot. I don't think there's any depth to that area because you're right in front of the building.
No.
Versus California where there was room because that's where the show scenes were, in front of the building. Or in the front of the building.
All the towers bring something to the table, and they all like elevate each other and raise your expectation for the others, except for France. You stink, France. You didn't bring jack shit to the table.
You know what France needed? A Rod Serling experience I once had, which was Ithaca has his archives because he taught there towards the end of his life, and every Halloween they would do a Twilight Zone marathon. And a number of years, they would just use the DVDs. But one year, they used original masters, like transferred original masters, which includes the Chesterfield cigarette commercials. So you got to see like a solemn tobacco farmer in his fields, and then a full marching band pops up from the fields, and they play the Chesterfield song. And then at the very end of the episode, Serling says, and stay tuned next week, and make sure to, while you're watching, enjoy a delicious Chesterfield cigarette, 21 kinds of tobacco for 21 wonderful smokes. And I have tried to find these commercials for years to no avail, but it is so funny that, and because Serling, like in a lot of his intros, like the intro of Nick of Time, he's sitting in a diner booth smoking a cigarette on camera.
So you would plus up,
so funny.
You would plus up France by giving a cigarette to every rider of the ride.
They love cigarettes in France, and so I think just put it in there because that is one, because I was wondering what do the French like the Twilight Zone, and there's that episode, the occurrence at the Owl Creek. What's the full name? An occurrence at Owl Creek, an adaptation of an Ambrose Bierce story. It was a short film that won the best short at Cannes and the Academy Awards, and the Twilight Zone people just licensed it for the Twilight Zone, and it is really creepy. So there was a French connection to the Twilight Zone.
Interesting. Did anyone watch the Kirk Cameron special? Jason?
Yes. Yes, I have. Do we have another hour?
No, I know. We can just hit some of the highlights. So they basically, like, the first part of it is like kayfabe, wrestling term for like in universe, like it's a spooky hotel. And then like the second half is Imagineering talk and like the actual creation of it. And there's a couple of things I like about it. That he basically, like, when they're doing the transition, he like explains the legend of the Tower of Terror, and then to transition out, he explains that Disney built a recreation of the hotel. So like it's like they were like, how do we square this circle? It's real, but why would it be in a theme park? So they're like, and he's like, so Disney built a real version, and it's like there's no real need for this piece of exposition. And then they go into, and then I think pretty quickly we get a little Eisner blurb. And he basically just he's excited about it. It's not, he doesn't say anything particularly funny, but what I like about it is that all of the like lower thirds, anyone whose like name pops up on the bottom of the screen, it gets introduced with a piece of like lightning shooting at it. So it's like crack, and then like Michael Eisner appears on the bottom, and it's the same with like Marty Sklar. It's like Marty Sklar on the bottom. And they're like, I love that.
It's very Jumbotron. That's real stupid.
Yes. I like it. It's not as aggressive probably as the noise I'm making, but there's a noise and a lightning strike, and then Michael Eisner appears on the bottom of the screen, which is exciting.
Kirk Cameron is like 50 pounds soaking wet in that he is like so tiny, and he's like wearing like the Stop Making Sense suit, and none of his suits fit, And they have written him the most flowery, like, narration dialogue. He's not nailing any of it. He looks like such a dweeb. Like, I wanted to swirly him.
They're making him do like old timey dialogue, and he's doing his best. They should have had Robert Evans. They should have just hired Robert Evans to do it.
Or even like a Jerry Orbach type. They should have had an old man do it. But yeah, Kirk Hammett's a real dweeb. And of course, now he thinks, the hotel is haunted by demons. Now he thinks the real Tower of Terror is the DNC headquarters where the Democrats do their devil worship.
Yes.
Well, he likes the story of the people in the elevator just suddenly disappearing because he thinks it's kind of like the rapture.
Yeah, they were living in sin.
Sinners kissing actors who aren't your wife. You can't kiss actors who aren't your wife. There is a moment Mike, did you catch the moment in the special with the one Imagineer talking about drawings?
I probably watched it, but I'm not sure which part you're talking about off the top of my head.
They interview an Imagineer. I forget his name, but he's talking about being in meetings, and he's working, like, in the meetings, he's, like, always doodling. And he said a word that I'm like, oh, that might be a new show word. He says, I'm sitting with a sketch pad making roughies.
I did not pick up
roughies. On that. Making roughies. I rewatched it like 5 times. I had to hear it, make sure I heard it right, make sure I heard him say making roughies. I had never heard roughies before.
That's like that. I feel like that's something you might have said as a child, like when you were feeling rammy, and then you would make roughies after that.
Yeah. You tumbled around too much on the playground. You were making roughies.
You too. You and your brother. Stop making roughies.
Stop making roughies.
Wow, I did not catch roughies.
Yeah, we love it's a new show word. We love roughies. Send us your roughy if you have any access to exclusive Imagineering roughies. We want to see them. We'll pay top dollar for your roughies.
Mm-hmm. And listen to that season pass podcast behind the paywall with Tony Baxter because he talks a lot about his roughies.
That's right. Cash for roughies. Call 1-800 for roughies.
Wow, roughies. Is that just like a cute thing that guy said, or is that actually a term?
I think it's just a thing. He meant like rough sketches, rough, doodles and stuff. But I never heard roughies before.
Wow.
Maybe it was something they said in the office, but I'll never forget roughies now.
Yeah, no, it's a very memorable way to say it.
Well, they're saying it now. We're all saying roughies. They're all saying
We're all saying it.
You're hearing it more and more.
You're hearing it more and more. I had one. Oh wait, actually, as we talk about sitcom stars going into this attraction, I think it's come up before, but I just want to reiterate. I find it very bizarre that both Step by Step and Family Matters did Disney World episodes where they went to the Tower of Terror, and it is the same ride operator with the same blocking. It is like two characters. The elevator is already full. The car is full, and then two characters stop at the door, kind of address whatever plot situation is going on, while a creepy bellhop kind of stares at them, and then he starts the ride and see you on the other side, and it's the same guy. And that's really weird. But then on top of that, I found both of these on Hulu and I rewatched them. The episodes are both called "We're Going to Disney World." The scenes happen in the middle of part 2. They were both in the middle of a two-parter, and they aired 2 days apart from each other.
Wow!
So if you were a big watcher of both of these shows, as I was, you got to see the same scene at the Tower of Terror twice in a week.
Wow, that's so funny. I guess did they maybe shoot it on the same day?
Yeah, maybe.
Or the same
maybe
next,
they did just double
back
up
to back. Maybe one day, next day.
That's like filming you filmed the American version and the Japanese version immediately. We got the set here, the camera's set up.
Right.
Let's just knock them out 1 and 2.
That's funny.
Yeah.
But you know what I'd like to talk about is the exit when you come down in the Florida Tower of Terror. I forgot about this. You come down in a little room with a little screen with the kind of famous Twilight Zone, like, what do you call it, a spiral or something with the black and white. And the music playing, and you're like, you don't end up in the same spot you started in, which is very cool. And there's a lot of little trinkets and stuff in that little, like, feels like you just got dumped in a little room, and then your car spins around to like gets you to the exit. And I didn't realize it until I went on it a couple of years ago that Caesar, the ventriloquist dummy from one of the famous episodes called Caesar and Me, who, of course, the dummy is real and the man is fake, is the big revelation. I'm sorry, spoiler alert. But Caesar is sitting there in the room, and I got so excited to see him. And I like Twilight Zone. I didn't know his name was Caesar. I'm just trying to say, like, I'm not like, oh my God, it's Caesar. But I said, oh my God, it's the dummy. And I was very excited because I'm a big dummy fan.
Yeah. There's two dummy episodes of Twilight Zone.
Yes.
There's another dummy one too, where I think that dummy is meaner.
Okay. Maybe I'm actually confusing my dummy episodes. It is Caesar in the ride. It is Caesar for sure in the ride, but I can't remember. Maybe I'm thinking of I'm mixing up my dummy, and I apologize, folks. I'm just a big fan of dummies, not necessarily the Twilight Zone episodes. But I'm right. So a Night of the Living Dummy, Goosebumps book, big fan of that. Yeah.
Have you ever seen the Mystery Science Theater movie Devil Doll?
I have not.
With a creepy, the dummy's name is Hugo, I believe, and there's something that my wife and I say every time, like very often when we're drinking wine, which is that, which is very often, and that is that that is also kind of a possessed dummy, and he wants to have wine, and then the ventriloquist says, "But you can't have wine, Hugo, you're just a dummy." Like, why? I want wine. I know what wine is. Give me some. When we decide we're gonna have wine, we really often say, "I know what wine is."
Wow. So you're dummy fans too.
I guess I am too. Yeah. Well, you're a Caesar guy. Who are you guys? Who are your dummies? I'm a Hugo guy myself.
Jason, who's your favorite dummy?
Oh, well, from Batman the Animated Series. Is it Scarface? Is that his name?
Oh, Jason, are you talking about the toy I have right here?
Yes, that's right. Yes. The ventriloquist and his dummy.
And Scarface, of course.
Yeah.
This is one of the greatest toys ever, by the way.
That is great. Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of funny that we all like dummies, considering that we are freaked out by things, and I'm so scared of like creepy baby things. Maybe I wouldn't like a baby dummy. Maybe that's the line. Is there such a thing in media?
Oh my God, there has to be
a baby dummy that would scare me.
That's a good question. I mean, do you think Caesar is cute from the Twilight Zone? That's a question I have.
I think we like these dummies, but I don't think any of us are calling them cute.
Hold on, let me send a photo to everyone.
I like Hugo. I don't think Hugo is cute.
Okay, here we go.
That doesn't mean I don't care.
Here we go.
For
Just
him.
so we're all on the same page, here's a picture of Caesar. I texted it to both of you, yeah. And then officially, is Caesar cute?
Look, I think, I'm sorry, but like big, thick eyebrows are just kind of get in the way of cute. You can look good or handsome or sharp. I don't know that I would call Caesar cute, though. No.
Jason, yes? You think yes?
I don't know. I like those the cheekbones with the eyebrows. I think are cute, and the stogie. Got a big stogie.
This is a semantics issue. I think he looks cool. I like him.
You went to cool.
I think he's cool, not cute. You guys are crazy. Caesar the Twilight Zone dummy is cool, not cute.
I didn't rule yet. I have not ruled.
Oh, okay.
Well, I have just posed the question.
Ruling,
I just posed the question, and I'm just listening to all the different things, and I'm going to rule. Mm-hmm. I'm going to say, I think he looks cool.
Yes, exactly. He is cool, not cute. It's very clear. I'm glad sometimes there's sanity on these cuteness issues.
I just think I'm not trolling. I'm being fair and balanced. That's a phrase I came up with.
Well, then, we'd like to know more. Obviously, I love when creatures are put into my Twitter feed. So, if you think you have a dummy that's cute, if you can think of a baby dummy, and I'm not talking puppet, there's baby puppets.
It has to be a ventriloquist's dummy.
Yeah, a baby. Do you think that there's a ventriloquist equivalent of Baby Grinch or Baby?
I mean, if I look up baby dummy.
Well, what about that baby Navi that we've been bombarded with? That everyone's Carly Wiesel and our various members of our Facebook group are like, I blame you for this. They're getting the Etsy ad for like this Navi baby, like those like multi-$100 like doll babies you can adopt that like crazy people adopt. Do you think that's cute?
No. I hate the avatar. Absolutely. As I looked up baby ventriloquist dummy, there's just I'm seeing like a real child's Halloween costume where the lines are drawn on his chin and he's got the rouge. This I hate. I very much. Let's make the rules clear. While I do like some ventriloquist dummies, a real child as a ventriloquist dummy is not cute. This is bad.
I don't know.
I will not be making my baby.
Halloween's coming up.
No. He's going to be Truffles. He's Truffles the
All
bear.
right, that is cute. All right, but next year.
Yeah.
I am seeing that a gentleman who's a ventriloquist named Paul Zerdin has some sort of baby dummy that he uses. I don't know anything about the act. I just see a thumbnail that he is working a baby puppet. So we'll have to look into that.
See what we think of Paul Zerdin. I'm watching it. It's neither here nor there. It's not, he actually really this so-called baby he is just as easily be a 95-year-old man. So it's I don't know. I think it doesn't qualify. And then he later in the same video he does bring up an old man immediately after.
Okay, all right. I think also like, and this we've been talking too long here. I do love old dolls. I'm fascinated with.
I don't know. I'm not going to go with you on that.
Like I'm fascinated by, of course, Robert the evil doll.
Well, sure.
Who is terrifying. I'm not gonna tell you I think Robert is cute, though I do feel bad for Robert. And if you don't know, this is Robert, and he's like the basis sort of for like the Chucky legend, like the inspiration for like haunted dolls.
I see.
What's
an old doll that you think is cute?
Well, I just said I'm a fan of old. I didn't say I think all the old dolls are cute. I'm just saying if it's an old doll, I like it.
Scott, are you going to dress your child like we all, I'm assuming, were dressed for picture day in school, like tiny little dolls, like boys and girls alike, dressed like tiny fancy little dolls, which was very popular in the 90s. I am.
There's a picture of me in a full sailor suit as a child.
Yeah.
Of course there is.
I don't know if I have the hat, but the rest of it is the sailor suit.
And Jason, that's just what he wears to a party.
Well, it's
especially
when it's Fleet Week.
All aboard! You must produce this photo.
Yeah, I'll find the sailor suit photo. Jason, do you have to have a sailor suit photo?
I don't know about sailors. I feel like I had an unseemly number of turtlenecks as a mere boy.
like a young Robert Evans.
Like a young Robert Evans. Turtlenecks and sweaters. I did find, you guys will like this. And I'm assuming it was just written because it's clearly my mother's handwriting. A letter to my grandparents dated September 1988. I came across this the other day, written as if I had written it.
What?
And it is like, I finally got my haircut and I kicked and screamed, but if I'm a good boy, I'll get a little toy at Kmart and get to ride a ride. So the keystone for the show was implanted in my brain a lot longer ago than I thought.
Wow.
I'm being roughy, but
yeah.
Wait, what's the other phrase?
Rammy.
I'm being rammy, and I got into roughies, but I got a little doll anyway.
I got an old doll, a little old doll,
A little old doll.
and and we're gonna be dressed the same. 2 sailor suits, same size, please.
Child Jason, little older child Jason and current Jason would very much have both enjoyed the Henry Bemis action figure that is very hard to find from the Twilight Zone. Henry Bemis, the Burgess Meredith character from Time Enough at Last.
They have these toys now.
I know, they're so hard to track down.
Yeah.
They're very expensive if you do find them.
They always have them in
I don't want a house full of Twilight Zone toys. This is a recipe for them all to come to life and bother me.
What about like a full-size Caesar, though? You could just sit overlooking the crib.
Hi. Hey. You wake up. Hey. Get up. Rise and shine.
Ugh.
The day's a wasting. Have a cigar with me, buddy.
They really, in the gift shop, they should sell that.
Oddly, I think I would dress my baby as Caesar. I don't know the safety level of prosthetic eyebrows for infants, but
you could
if I discover that any are safe, I'll consider.
You could do like a headband with the eyebrows attached.
Oh, that's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
And yes, and the rest is skin colored. And then
yeah, that would be good. And then like you could
work on
that.
You get I'll find this.
I was gonna say, could you find a bottle that looks like a big cigar? Like, give me another hit of that.
A little like streamer smoke coming out.
Right,
of it.
like a very thin bottle that looks like a cigar that you'd put milk in.
This ain't bad. This ain't
That's
bad.
good.
And I think Disney really blew it not having these items available in the gift shop for the Tower of Terror.
Right. I agree.
We want our Twilight Zone branding. We want our cigar bottle disguises and eyebrow straps for babies.
Oh, of course I have. I guess I should mention that. I have the terry cloth Hollywood Tower Hotel bathrobe.
Nice. Great.
And it's great. It's
You wear it
it's very
still, right?
practical. Oh yeah, I still use it. Yeah, it's hanging on the door
again,
of my bathroom.
We're in overtime here, but you're a bathrobe guy.
I'm a bathrobe guy. Yeah,
I'd love to be one. I'd love to be one. I have one. I never do it. Scott, are you a bathrobe guy?
Yeah, I'll do it every once in a while.
Okay.
Yeah. I got one, but I don't know. It's odd to do.
Jason, are you a bathrobe?
I can't imagine constantly.
You're like an everyday bathrobe guy? Am I wrong?
Yeah, sometimes.
What?
Yeah.
Get out of the
You're
shower.
like
Put on that robe.
You're
Sit
like
around for a little while.
a Robert Evans type, where like you would imagine he just wore like a smoking jacket around the house or a bathrobe. So like you are just like a lounge in your robe after a shower for hours, unless you have somewhere to go.
Yeah, weather depending. Sometimes that's a little too cold. You know.
The difference being milk and cookies replacing vast sums of cocaine.
Yeah,
Right.
that's true.
Besides that, sure, maybe Jason is a Robert Evans type. Do we get out overtime? Have we done it? Can we do it?
I think we can do it. I think so. Yeah.
Survived. Hauntcast, the Fright, an episode that a while ago was mostly about the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror. That's a blast. It's nice to talk about such a fantastic ride, a linchpin, an institution, and as we said, this almost has to become a mini yearly series, because we have to hit Japan, we have to hit the film, and of course an entire episode devoted to the systemic abuse of Sally Shine. It is very evident from the one unspeaking shot of her.
Yes. Do we think Mission Breakout? That's not counted, right? Because it's not spooky.
No.
I think it's
But
not scary.
is on Monsters After Dark, the Halloween overlay, that has to be in Hauntcast the Fright. Maybe on a second gate, maybe behind a paywall.
I think so. I think those are the rules.
Okay.
Yes. So we have to cover it in the off season, and then, unless we do Monsters After Dark first, it gets very
right. We could do Monsters After Dark first, and you've done Guardians, but not Monsters After Dark. Now
I haven't done Monsters After Dark,
right?
Yeah.
which I
Sounds
love.
spooky. Yeah,
It's my favorite.
Yeah. It does sound cool. All right. So look, we're not done with these towers. We'll be back in the tower. We may have to be just similarly over in the Creature's Choice Awards too. We'll figure that out. Hey, like we said, there's a lot of Hauntcast the Fright to come. We got good topics, good fun coming up. So stay tuned. What's a monster? What's a Halloween pun to say? Stay ghouled.
Yeah.
To your podcast app, and be sure to skeliscribe to, that's horrible, skeleton subscribe. Look, I don't know, I'll tune these up later. The point is, go to Podcast the Ride the Cemetery Gate for both 3 bonus episodes.
That's good. That's perfect. Yeah.
Very good.
All right.
Yeah, that's great.
I closed that on a good one at patreon.com/podcast the ride. I'm not going to spookify that one, or the URL won't be ready.
Right. Okay, very important. All right, well, we'll see you soon.
Forever Dog.
This has been a Forever Dog production. Executive produced by Mike Carlson, Jason Sheridan, Scott Gairdner, Brett Boehm, Joe Cilio, and Alex Ramsey. For more original podcasts, please visit foreverdogpodcasts.com and subscribe to our shows on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Keep up with the latest Forever Dog news by following us on Twitter and Instagram @ForeverDogTeam and liking our page on Facebook.